Shabbat shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad and the strangers joined into the household. Giving all praises to our Most High God, Elohim, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah, whom we presently call Jesus the Christ. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Let's start this Shabbat off with facing the east, getting our prayer on. We face the east, 1 Kings chapter 8. Men uncover their heads and women cover their heads when praying and prophesying in the assembly. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. We extend our hands to the heavens. 1 Tim chapter 2 verse 8. Let's get it in, y'all.
We'll get this opening prayer with the Most High's permission. In the name of His only beloved and begotten Son.
Yes, sir.
Our uncrowned King.
That's right.
Lord and Savior.
Yes.
Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
Yes, sir.
Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 121st chapter, it reads, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Most High, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yisrael shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. The Most High is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Most High shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth.
That's right.
And even forevermore. Hallelujah! Say God!
Shabbat shalom, y'all. We're going to address a couple of things today. Last night we were trying to figure out what we could bring to the assembly today. And my brother was, we were discussing the death of the youth today. And how a brother from our assembly, one of his nephews had given up the ghost last week in murder. And so a brother was saying, that we need to deal with, choosing the Most High like in the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because time is short. We as men, we take this time for granted. So easy to talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. We don't even have a clue what tomorrow may bring. We don't know what the next 5 seconds. But man's life can change just like the Most High was saying. He delivers us, and man should change the twinkling of an eye from corruptible to incorruptible. Same likewise can happen to man's existence. It can change in the twinkling of an eye, from existence to non-existence. And so it behooves us that in the time that we have afforded to us, that we take heed and we seek the Most High God and His only begotten Son with all our hearts, body, and soul. Because no time is promised to man except death, salvation, and destruction. These are the only things promised to man. That it is promised to a man that he should die once, and that in the end there should be 2 occasions, one for the living and one for the dead, salvation and damnation. Now, we have an issue. We have to prove that it's through free will that the Most High gives us these things to choose for ourselves. There's many who think that the word of God blessed upon us and the understanding blessed upon us is predestinate, and that's not so. And we'll prove that. What's predestined is that if you do right, if you continue steadfast in his faith, with doing the commandments in truth and in deed, then you're predestined to be saved, to enjoy the inheritance promised to our forefathers. That's the predestination. But to say a man is predestined from the womb that he should never sin is not so. Because the Most High gives us free will. For the Most High presented free will by he chose a peculiar people unto himself above all the other nations.
That's right.
So the Most High exercises free will as well.
Let me ask you something real quick. I don't
Yes,
mean
sir.
to interrupt you, but just like you just said, he chose Israel,
That's
or
right.
Judah, to be his chosen people unto him, a peculiar nation, above all the other nations of the world.
That's right.
That doesn't mean that he's not accepting of any of the other nations who are
Doesn't mean
willing
that
to get out.
whatsoever. Because he created them as well.
Exactly, that's my point.
If every knee must bow and every tongue must confess, then they have to be afforded the same opportunities as Israel.
We're just the chosen.
And we'll show that how he's out of all his plants, he chooses one plant. Out of everything that he's created, he's chosen one in particular to be special unto himself.
And Judah is my lawgiver.
That's
There you
right,
go.
man. That's right.
So without any further ado, we're gonna get into the lessons at hand. Do we have any questions to about?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, y'all, let's get in this.
Doing that
You
Isaiah
know,
55.
we're gonna start in Isaiah 55. And we also, like I said, we're gonna show the difference between free will and predestined. But we also have to, we're gonna also get into some last day prophecies. What shall befall mankind due to the disobedience of mankind? And what shall befall mankind due to the obedience of mankind? So we have several things that we must try to cover today, and so we're gonna have to move along. I know a lot of times we get, edification is key, and so we must expound on certain things, so if we don't get through all the lessons, there will be homework.
You got homework if it ain't no homework.
Really don't.
Read something. Read something.
That's what your parents used to do. Ain't got no homework, just pick up a book and read. So was we gonna hit that Isaiah 55, bro?
1
Yes,
through 7.
yes, sir. Isaiah 55, 1 through 7. And then, when you hit that 7, I want you to jump over to that Ezekiel 18. Then go back, finish that out. And then we got to hit this 56 because just like you were asking that question, since Israel is chosen, what about the other nations? Then we're going to hit that 56 and we'll see what about the other nations. Because we don't promote a black nationalist movement.
No, get it correct.
We're not like Big Brother Jacob say, we don't play the guilty by association game. Negroes are out there profaning the name of the Most High with these wicked doctrines that are not written. We ain't with all that. We go according to thus saith the Most High. And if it ain't thus saith the Most High, we don't roll with it.
Line upon line, precept upon precept.
That's right. Here a little, there a little.
Nothing added, nothing
Rightly
taken away.
fitted and joined together. Dividing the word of truth. All right, we there? Let's get it.
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 1.
Oh, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the water. And he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price.
Nothing in this world is free. Not in this world. Nothing is free. It has a price on the end of it. If you ain't read the small print, you better get you some bifocals and read the fine print. Nothing is free in this world. However, there is something that is free in this world that is not of this world. How do you buy milk and water and things to eat without money? What kind of food are you purchasing without money?
Living food.
Living food. That's greater than what the belly can withstand, or can contain.
Sustains the soul.
We're looking for the living waters, that everlasting water and bread, which died upon the cross and resurrected the third day. John chapter 4 is what we're looking for. Where the woman at the well, he said, I have water and bread that you should never thirst or hunger forever again if you take unto it. Now understand what he said, if you take unto it. That's free will. So you got the opportunity to choose or not to choose. It's on you.
Right.
There's a reward and there's a condemnation for whichever way you choose, whether it be right or wrong. The choice is yours. Read on, brother.
Verse 2. This is Isaiah chapter 55 for those just tuning in. Isaiah 55 verse 2. Wherefore do ye spend money for that which is not bread, and how you labor for that which satisfied not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David.
So he's talking about something that's not edible. It's edible, but yet it's greater than that which is edible. Because that which goeth in the body coming out in the drop. It comes out in your stool.
That's that not living by bread alone, but it's the word.
But the word, that's right. So the knowledge of the Most High, he said, come to me and hear. Hear what the prophet said. Hear what the law said. Hear what the Most High said. Hear what the Spirit said. For the Spirit expresses expressly, speaking expressly. So we listen to the law. Read on.
Verse 4. Behold, I have given him for witness to the people, a leader and commander to the people. Behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee because of the Lord, thy God, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he had glorified thee.
So just like in Isaiah chapter 2, in Zechariah chapter 14, all nations shall flow unto the tabernacles of Israel, because there is the law. For the Most High shall dwell amongst this people, and there shall be the light. No more artificial lights need for the sun and the moon, for the light shall be dwelling amongst men. Right? Read on.
Verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near.
He says, seek him while he can be found, call upon him while he is near. So that obviously means that there's going to come a time where he's not going to be around and he's not going to be near. Hold that, give me that Amos chapter 8. Hold this, get Amos chapter 8.
You want 8 and what?
I'll tell you when I get there, brother. 8 and 11.
8 and 11.
Yes, sir.
Amos chapter 8, verse 11. Behold,
Everybody there? Everybody there? Amos chapter 8, verse 11. We're going to hit and miss on some of these, y'all, so we can squeeze as much in as much as possible in this time allowed it us.
Keep rolling, brother. Keep rolling.
all right, Amos chapter 8, verse 11.
Yes, sir.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing of the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it.
They shall not find it. So the Most High says, take this time that is given unto us. Don't take it for granted. But do something with this time. Seek the Most High right now while he can be found and while he's near. Because there's going to come a time that there's going to be a famine, not of bread and water, but of the word of the Most High. And at that time, people going to want to hear it, and it can't be found. Because they're going to persecute and kill and wear out the saints. You see what they're trying to do to the Hebrew Israelite nation right now. And you got these knucklehead Negroites running around that's defaming the name of the Most High. And then they want to lump us all up in one sum and associate us with that foolishness. Those were so-called Israelites that did that hit on that Edomite kosher deli in New Jersey. And the first thing they did, even though dude probably wasn't a current member anymore,
They said he was a former member.
It doesn't matter. They attached black Hebrew Israelite attached to him.
Yeah, that's all.
And his wife. That's all everybody here. So they're looking for a reason to say, this is why we don't trust your doctrine. This is why we don't deal with y'all. Y'all a hate group. You're a black nationalist movement. No different.
That's why we need to be on that.
Wall Street Journal.
I mean,
It said,
go ahead.
oh, okay, I'm sorry, it clicked off. Go ahead, Hebrew.
Check this out, John 7:63. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. And that's what we got to keep our mind on right there. This flesh ain't gonna cut it. Everything they doing here.
The flesh is nothing.
But all I was showing you was an article saying investigators see New Jersey shooting as potential act of domestic terrorism.
Yeah, they want a label, but see, the black Hebrew Israelites have been on the terrorist list since the 80s because of Negroes like Hulan Mitchell, so-called Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and Ben-Ami Carter, aka what was this Negro's government name? Whatever.
It was human.
Yeah.
No, that was Yahweh Ben Yahweh. It was Hulan Mitchell, but Ben-Ami Carter name was something else. No, Hulan is Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
Wrong way, then wrong way.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't matter anyway.
He's nobody.
They were false prophets.
Right.
And so what they want to do is lump all Israelites into that same doctrine, just like the alphabet boys. They want to lump us up in the same group with all these cats and these crazy doctrines. So a lot of times we have to be very careful with our fruits and how we present our fruit. Because the first thing they're looking for is fault. They're not looking for substance to bring salvation. They're looking for fault to accuse like they did Christ.
From my perspective, man, what they're trying to do, they're trying to drive a wedge between us and our general public, the people who are unaware of what's going on.
Yeah, well, see, and that's why they use the title. They use black Hebrew Israelite. They don't talk about the difference in doctrine or nothing. They just throw the title out there. They throw the heritage out there. So that long as people hear the heritage in a bad light, before they hear anything that come out your mouth, if they identify you with that, then you're no good.
Right, exactly right.
So that's to project an image so that they get the general opinion on their side. And that's what it's all about. It's so that they can boost their morale in confederacy against us, to wipe our names out. Okay, where were we, bro? Finish that, Amos.
All right, verse 13. Amos chapter 8, verse 13. And that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. They that swear by the sin of Samaria and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise up again.
Because they chose to a doctrine that was not of the Most High. We can go back to this Isaiah. So the Most High says, seek him now while he can be found, because there's going to come a famine where he won't be found. And he's not going to be found of those who are ungodly and sinners anyway. He's turned his back on them. However, we'll see that as long as a man has breath in his body, he has an opportunity to turn around. But that has to be his choosing. His decision, his choice, his free will.
And you know
Verse
what?
7 is coming up.
And that's funny, man, because I was just talking to a brother the other day, and I told him, I say, man, I choose not to get into debates with people about this. You dig? I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fuss with you about this, because we need God. He don't need us. You dig? I'm trying to warn you of something that's coming down in the future, but you want to argue with me about it. I said, well, that's okay, because, you know, if you really wanted to receive this, you would accept it instead of me having to prove it to you. I just said, keep living. You know, I mean, it ain't about trying to sell God on somebody.
Right.
They got to want God.
Right. If they're truly seeking him, he puts you in their life.
Right.
He puts you in thirst.
He said, man, anybody seeking, it shall be open to them. If they knock, it shall be opened. If they seek, they shall find. If they ask, it shall be given. But see, that's the problem. We're not truly wanting it for real. We don't want that smoke for real. We don't want the responsibilities of doing right. We are comfortable in our deceptions and our sins. So many of our people that hear the word, they hear it, you know, it's like the parable of the sower. Some that have fallen amongst the thorns and the cares of the world choke them up. Or there are some who get persecuted and they can't hold on because they like, I can't take that being admonished or ridiculed by my loved ones. I don't like the name call. We've seen it. We've seen it.
We've experienced it.
We've experienced it.
It ain't gonna be no easy walk.
I mean, we've seen them come and go, and we'll continue to do so.
I got laughed to scorn in the grocery store because I had my head wrapped for Passover, and I was called all kind of Osama bin Ladens. But did that make me pull it off? No.
He did look like him, though.
I was going to say that with that thing, you kind of look like him.
He did look like him. All right, y'all. Let's get back to. Let's finish up that Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 55. I'm gonna start at 6, verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon.
Hold that. You had something? Go ahead, bro.
I was going to say that you see that's a without excuse decision that we're making while we're on the subject of the free will. See, a wicked man and unrighteous man know he's that. He know he ain't no good. And every day he look at himself in the mirror. I'm going to continue to be this way, or am I going to change my ways? That's his decision. That's his decision. And it says right here, let that man do that. Let that, it has to be in that man to do that. There's where that free will is. Let him consider what he's doing and let him change his ways. And the Lord say, I'll be right there for you. I will forgive you. I will pardon you. He's welcoming them back into the fold. What you got, brother?
Y'all so-called people, let me see how fake they is, man.
Right.
Talking all white, all that, act like it's really like this.
Right.
Hey, come on, you ain't been like this.
Right.
Man, they be trying to sell it. Like they really like that. Like, come on, man.
Right.
You talking to somebody been on your whole life.
Right.
You still act like that?
Exactly.
They act like they really like this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, that's crazy. They gotta know that.
Let's hit that, hold that and hit that Ezekiel chapter 18.
18 and what,
18 is the whole,
whole shebang?
Started 18. No, it's back there.
18,
Yep, back there up to 1.
Yeah, pretty much.
just do that whole chapter because the whole chapter is meaningful.
Right.
Every chapter is meaningful.
Right.
But according to what we're dealing with, I think it's very appropriate. Because, and this is one of the reasons why the script says never to say raka or call a man a fool. Raka saying basically empty-headed, knuckle-headed, or one who's destitute of understanding. Because as long as a man has breath in his body, he may come unto the knowledge. Most High said, time and chance happening to every man, Ecclesiastes. Time and chance is not to the strong or to the swift or the one who has all the riches, but time and chance happening to every man that he may choose life over death. Now, what you choose is on you. But it's set before everyone. It was set before Adam. He says, all these trees you have before you that shall sustain you of your meat. But there's one tree that you ought not mess with. Because it's cursed. Do not mess with it. Do not commune with it or anything. Because it's corrupt unless you die. So he gave him a choice. I put before you this day good and evil.
Choose life.
That ye may live. But soon as he chose to deal with the one that he told you not to, what came upon earth? Death. Transgression. Most High didn't create transgression. It was found in Satan, in his pride. He created Satan, but transgression was not something that he created. Free will.
Free will.
Ezekiel 18 and 1.
Ezekiel chapter,
Go ahead, Otto. Go ahead.
Somebody.
Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 1. The word of the Elohim came unto me again, saying, what mean ye that ye use this proverb concerning the land of Israel, saying, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and our children's teeth are set on edge. As I live, says the Elohim Yahweh, ye shall not have occasion any more to use this proverb in Israel.
He said, I'm going to take it away from you. But y'all using this to the extent, boy. I'm going to snatch this away from you because this ain't going to be your scapegoat.
Right. Your excuse no more.
Read on.
Behold, all souls are mine.
All souls are mine, not just some, not just Israel. For Israel is not the only nation he created.
That's right.
He says, all souls are mine. Read on.
Behold, all souls are mine. As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. But if a man be just and do that which is lawful and right, and have not eaten upon the mountains, neither have lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, neither have defiled his neighbor's wife, neither have come near to menstruous women, and have not oppressed any, but hath restored to the debtor his pledge, has spoiled none by violence, hath given his bread to the hungry, and hath covered the naked with his garment. He that hath not given forth upon usury, neither hath taken any increase, that hath withdrawn his hand from iniquity, hath executed true judgment between man and man, hath walked in my statutes, and hath kept my judgments, to deal truly. He is just. He shall surely live, says the Elohim Yahweh.
So this is a man who has chosen the right way. And everything that was listed in the things that he's done or by his virtue or the things that the Most High requires. These are the law, statutes, and judgments. He said if a man do these things, if he has not done the things that are unlawful, then he shall live. He said if a man be just.
Right.
But he said in verse 4, if that soul sinneth, it shall die. So there's a choice, life and death. One has chosen law breaking, one has chosen law abiding. The one who chose law abiding lives. The one who chose to be an outlaw dies.
We have examples of that every day on the news.
We die because of sin. We all die because all of us have sinned and have come short of the glory of the Most High.
The wages of sin is death.
It's death. It's written in the law.
Live by the sword, you die by the sword.
And by whatever sin you live by, that's the sin by which you shall be punished.
Lord forbid you die in that sin.
I mean, just
If you have not Christ, you're going to die in that sin. I don't care what it is. If you have
on
not
the way
Christ,
here, on the way here, you know, we take the Rock Road turn to Martin Luther King, which in every city is the worst street in every city. But on the way here today, we always run into at least one funeral. Today we ran past 3. They were back to back to. I was like, man, the other people couldn't even cross the streets.
Right.
Because the cars, as we finished the first one, which was a horse-drawn carriage, I don't understand that, but they were so slow, the other funeral was right up behind them. When they stopped, here come another funeral car.
Bumper to bumper.
Yeah, bumper to bumper, bro. I mean, 3, and we took us, what, 20 minutes to get there? 20 minutes.
that's because hell is never full. The grave is never full. It has room for many.
That's why they got a fence around it, people dying to get in.
But that's an excellent point.
In other words, hell has many reservations.
Yes, sir.
So hell is also, the grave is also a garden. If you notice, the Most High is always comparing us to a garden. Trees planted. A garden. You know what a garden also represents? A mindset. A consciousness. Because in your consciousness is hedged about. It's protected because you have seared with an iron. Your conscience, your faith, and your belief system is guarded by a hedge. You watch who you allow to get into your psyche and mess and corrupt or disrupt your belief system. When man transgressed, he was put out of that mindset, that consciousness. Now he's placed in a worldly setting that's contrary to life eternal. Now he has a battle, a spiritual battle, to get back to whence he was created. Ain't nothing fleshly about this that we're dealing with. That's why he said we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. What's the high places? Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered or changeth the faces of the judges thereof, because now the judges are white men, white, gay, homosexual, Hell's Angel, meth, cooking, addicted varmints.
Look this.
Talking about how people would love evil more than good.
It's all throughout the script, but we're going to hear where we say Isaiah 30:10 is how we don't want to hear the righteous words in the law. We want smooth words of deception. We want to be lied to. We enjoy a lie better than the truth. Because the truth, now it says the truth hurts, but it sets you free. That's right. It's going to hurt, it's going to sting. It's supposed to. Especially when you're a people peeled and robbed of everything you know to be good. The truth is going to sting a little bit, but it don't last forever. It sets you free. Because now you understand. You know what's wrong and what's right. You can truly choose with a pure conscience. But we don't want that. Because a lie allows us to continue in our wickedness.
Because, I'm sorry, but it's like this morning I was praying for the group, and it was everyone this morning, and it kept saying that I kept hearing in my experience that they've been seduced like a spider web into deception. And deception is the major feast that they're eating on this day.
We loved it. But deception is only accomplished through ignorance. If you don't know, it's easy to accomplish deception in one. But see, that ignorance comes from choosing to be ignorant.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Jeremiah 5:31.
Let's go.
The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so.
Love it.
And what will ye do in the end thereof?
Love to have it so, but that goes with that Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10. Write it down in your arsenal. Our people love to be lied to. We like it. We love it. Want more of it. We don't want the truth.
Isaiah 30 and 10.
Yep.
Isaiah 30 and 10. When Christ came upon the earth. Now here it is, Pharisees and the lawyers that knew the law. Front and back, they had the books of Isaiah. It's prophesied about his coming, his suffrage, his deliverance, all of that. And they rejected him when he came. That's why he called them generation of vipers, snakes, hypocrites. You claim you know the law, but you refuse the law. You reject it.
It's not the lack of.
We're going to hit that Hosea 4 and 6. What you say, brother?
It's not the lack of knowledge, it's the rejection of knowledge.
It's the rejection. It's one thing to just not have it and not know. But to get it and say, I don't want it, that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother level of the game. Let's finish this Ezekiel 18 real quick so we get to a lot of these other scripts that we want to deal with.
Ezekiel chapter 18 verse 10.
Yes, sir.
If he begot a son that is a robber, a shedder of blood, and that doeth the like to any one of these things, and that doeth not any of those duties, but even hath eaten upon the mountains, and defiled his neighbor's wife, hath oppressed the poor and needy, has spoiled by violence, hath not restored the pledge, hath lifted up his eyes to the idols, hath committed abominations, hath given forth upon usury, and hath taken increase, shall he then live? He shall not live. He hath done all the abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. Now lo, if he begat a son that seeth all his father's sins, which he hath done, and considereth, and doeth not such like, that hath not eaten upon the mountains, neither hath lifted up his eyes to the idols of the household of Israel, hath not defiled his neighbor's wife, neither hath oppressed any, hath not withholden the pledge, neither hath spoiled by violence, but hath given his bread to the hungry, and hath covered the nation with
The naked.
and have covered the naked with a garment, that hath taken off his hand from the poor, that hath not received usury nor increase. He hath executed my judgments, hath walked in my statutes. He shall not die for the iniquity of his father. He shall surely live.
So if the son come out and his son see the wickedness of his father, he like, no, I ain't rolling like that. I'm gonna do contrary and live right. He ain't gonna die for the sins of his father. But if that father beget a son and he teaches him his pernicious ways, his ways of violence, then he's gonna follow in the same punishments of his father. And that's what we were talking about last night, me and bro. Because one of the brethren out of the household, his nephew gave up the ghost. He was murdered a few days ago. But this same nephew had threatened his life probably a half a year prior. Now the daddy of this nephew, which is his brother, is in a penitentiary for living an unrighteous lifestyle. Now, the brother from the house had talked to the brother about showing his son these foul ways. His reply was, he's gonna learn it anyway, he might as well learn it from me. Well, guess what? They're both seeing the end result of that wicked decision. One is in a penitentiary and they're making funeral arrangements for the other. His offspring.
And that was cool with him.
Those were choices made. And a lot of times we hurt and we pain in our souls and we have vexation of spirit. But Ecclesiastes says to have much knowledge is to know much grief. Because once you become understanding in these things, it hurts your soul that your people just won't get it together.
Just won't listen.
They just won't do right. And then you think unto yourself, well, I was just as foul as they come, but I got it. You heard his voice. Not everybody's going to hear the voice. That's a reality you're just going to have to accept.
And a lot of people would take a lot longer. Some people will get it immediately.
Some get it.
people, they have to go through some things
They
for
have
a
to
couple
go through
years.
experience.
And then that second witness come and all of a sudden, boom, they on point.
Right.
And they stay on point.
But you know one thing, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's because, and we're prime examples of that, and it's a blessing that the brother that brought me in is right here, the brother that brought him in is right there, and the brother that turned you on, both of us are right here.
Yeah, he witnessed to me 7 years before he did. And when he came the second time, I left California, came back to St. Louis and ain't looked back.
When he told me about it, I came and checked it out. It took me 5 years before I came into the truth.
It took me 7.
We heard
But
it,
I was changing my
and
life.
the seed was planted.
I was
And then
changing
we
my life
started
at the same time.
transition. That's what I'm saying, man. So, you know, and when I finally got it, I was like, damn. I've been lied to all this time. Wait till I tell everybody else. And I went to telling, and everybody was like, hey, get away from me with that Bible stuff, buddy. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, you rejecting it? And that's exactly what it's always been, the rejection. They got him on it.
Lyrics coming soon.
Yeah. That's what it is. You gotta want it, man.
Yes, sir.
bet none of y'all ever really rejected it from the start.
No, I didn't reject it. When he told me, I changed, like I said, I changed my life. I stopped dealing with a bunch of women. I actually started trying to go to church.
Right.
And just was like, God, the stuff they say that don't make no sense, I'm not going to really dwell on that. I'm going to go there for what's for me. Mm-hmm. And then he finally said, boy, get your butt back home.
All praise to the Most High. My wife and I heard it together. My wife and my firstborn, we all three heard it together, and we got it immediately. But I was already in the process of changing my life from being a street cat to trying to find something sustainable for my soul. So I was already in that process of change.
But it seems like each and every last one of us, when we get this, man, it's like we don't get it right that minute when somebody brought it to us. It's like we've been through a process from way back here that when we finally heard this word, this truth, you know, it resonated almost instantly. Mm-hmm. We act on it, it still resonated instantly with you.
You know why? Because you had already experienced enough.
Right.
That the mind and your heart was in a position to accept it.
The change.
You had already experienced enough.
Enough.
I had already reached my bottom years ago. So I was already in the process of change because I had already reached that dark place. Okay? So when the truth came along, I embraced it because I was looking for change already. And that was the change I knew because it answered all the questions that I had immediately like that. So I knew it was true.
And see, the thing about that too is this, and that goes back with me, man. I can even remember being a short-legged man and knowing that church thing wasn't what was up. Mm-hmm. And growing up seeking the Most High and what His direction for me was, and being misled by so many different people that you looked up to, and then you get to the point where you be like, oh, y'all just lying, and I don't say that. I went to church with my sister, with my mother's daughter.
That's your sister.
Well, that's
It's your sister.
Well, you got a point there. Well, anyway, I went to church with her.
Every time I went to your house, she was at the house.
My point. So she took me to church with her, and we were listening to the preacher, and he said, sell that second car and get that money to the church. And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. So when I was introduced to the truth, of course, my light came on, but I was apprehensive and standoffish, because I'd have been, misguided so many times in life. But you did when I went down there and saw these cats was there. He was doing the artwork, but I was like, oh, these cats know the Bible. I don't want to leave my car out here. So I left. Gerard was there that day, and I, like I said, it took me a while, but I came back. All praise to the Most High. Indeed. And it's a blessing too that I happen to run into these folks that study this Bible line upon line, precept upon precept, and ain't adding nothing like these other camps. Because I could have just have easily fallen into their class, their grasp of them, and then I'd have been, I don't know what I would have been, but I'm just thankful that I'm here and we getting it. You're right.
I got two, y'all, if I may, on what we're talking about.
It's crazy how the spirit worked though, because me and my wife was talking about all of this morning. Everything we done went over, we was talking about that this morning.
All praises.
I want to go to 2nd Ezra.
See how we all
I'll read this. Y'all don't have to turn there.
Hold on, bro. What chapter you reading? Because we already got it jotted down.
2nd Ezra chapter 8.
Yeah,
we gonna go there.
We gonna go there. 9.
Yeah, we going.
It's in there.
They raised me. I'm supposed to know where they're going. They raised me. How you doing?
See how the Spirit speaketh expressly. Mm-hmm. We are on. That's what we're talking about.
That's it.
That he and his rib were discussing the same topic this morning. Bruh and I were discussing it last night. He bringing in scripts that we already got noted in our notes that we want to present. That's one accord.
Right.
We are all on one accord. That's what a family should be.
You know
He
what?
had this written and we hadn't discussed this.
We hadn't discussed.
But if you notice, as you look back in classes, that we're always like that amongst ourselves, amongst this household. We're always like that. That's because the Most High has blessed our big brothers Jacob and Daniel, that they have taught us in a manner that should be taught.
That's right.
And so likewise, we try to present it the same way to the brethren, to the household, to the assembly, to the worldwide assembly, to the body of Christ, that we edify the body and not ourselves. That the Most High and His holy begotten Son get all the praises, honor, and glory. And that we are permitted to breathe again and repent.
Yeah, y'all want another one? 2 days ago, I just texted him and him and him, one text. And said, man, I just listened to the whole Run Nigga Run class. How all y'all flowed together as if y'all studied it together.
Yeah, we was on it that day. We was on it that day. He showed in. He sent that text.
I said, man, y'all, the spirit was on y'all, and y'all just flowed that class like if y'all went to the library and say, put the collective minds together and we came up with this class. No, he came up with the class, but they flowed all together, like I said, as if they studied it together. And the whole class just blew me away. It's like, wow, 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 look at that, look at that, look at that. And here we are still talking about it.
But in the spirit, we do study together.
Yeah. That's right. We don't have to be talking together. We don't have to be texting. We don't have to be on the phone.
We know what the next one is on.
Azariah told me, he said, man, I was over on the south side. Some dude said that he said, you sound like this cat over on the north side. And he said, I know who you're talking about. He said, he described him to me. Yeah, that was him. And he said, so we on opposite sides of town, running into the same work, running into the same people.
Like last night, for instance, Brew was like, man, I gotta think of a subject matter for tomorrow. And he came up with a topic, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm gonna look up a couple scripts. So by the time he left, I came back in and just kept chewing on me. I was listening to my beats, and I'm like, okay, let me pause this for a minute. I called him back. I say, you think we should hit that second Esdras, chapter 8? And he didn't answer the phone. So this morning I called him. He was still on me. I called him this morning. I said, we got to hit this second Esdras. And then the brother on the end, Uriah, just brought it up again. I'm like, hold on, where we going with this?
So was that, I asked him when he said, man, we got to hit second Ezra.
Wow.
I say, tell me what chapter you read.
Wow.
I'm looking at my notes. He said chapter, I said, yep. I said, in chapter 9, he said, yeah. I said, I already got it.
When Ezra did one of his classes, when he did one of his classes, they was the class I had, a whole bunch of the scriptures on there.
He told, I did a class, he said, I just wrote a song about this.
So did. I just wrote a song. And he came in doing a class about it.
That's the spirit, though, y'all.
That's the spirit.
And that's what God.
That's how it's supposed to be, y'all. Give a little round of applause. That's how it's supposed to be.
That's the way we should be as a body of Christ, as the church of Christ. We should all, whether it be here in St. Louis, or whether it be in Mississippi, or whether it be across the waters in the UK, or in the islands, or wherever it may be, if we are brethren of the same walk, then we must be brethren of the same talk.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And when I say brethren, please understand that I include you sisters and the coaches in that.
Right.
I'm just using a word
Not male or female.
that's general,
Family.
but I'm also including you sisters because without you, we are nothing. Let's hit this, let's finish out this 18. You had something, brother?
Yeah, I came into one of the brothers from IUIC. Stop it. This was a couple of weeks.
You mark that nigga.
How you come back last week with the sack class? I mean, the sack class. That we was going in.
Wow, that's how it's supposed
It's
to
the
be.
spirit, man.
You tell them to watch it.
It ain't us. It ain't us, it's the spirit.
While I was watching the class, man, I I just sitting right to us, you need to watch this, since you under this. Pressure.
Since you fat mouth.
You know, you need to watch this class.
Ain't heard nothing from him.
You ain't
You ain't going to.
You won't hear from them.
They run when ain't nobody even chasing them. I had somebody run on me the other day on Facebook. I posted something on my cousin's stuff.
And if he see you, he gonna pray he see you before you see him so he can dip. And let's finish this Ezekiel 18, y'all, because we got, y'all know how we roll. We got a plethora of scripts. What time is it?
He like it on the
Oh, boy, time be rolling. Come on.
Deb's on you.
My bad. Chapter 14, my bad. Chapter 18, verse 14.
Yes, sir.
Now lo, if he begat a son that seeth all his father's sin which
we
he
did
had
that.
Huh?
We did all that.
How far that?
About 17.
I was on 17. My finger slipped off of it, y'all.
It's all good. Let's keep it.
Verse 17. Have taken.
Slow down, Tito.
Hold on. Let me fix my hair. That had taken off his hand from the poor, that had not received usury nor increase, has executed my judgment, hath walked in my statutes. He shall not die for the iniquity of his father. He shall surely live. As for his father, because he cruelly oppressed, spoiled his brother by violence, and did that which is not good among his people, lo, even he shall die in his iniquity. Yet say ye, why? Does not the son bear the iniquity of the father?
Now this is a question that has always plagued us. Aren't we chastised or punished because of the sins of the father? Not in generally speaking as a nation, we have been. But when it comes down to individually households and things of this nature, then there's a whole different arrangement for that. Read on.
Yet say ye, why? Does not the son bear the iniquity of the father? When the son hath done that which is lawful and right, and hath kept all my statutes, and hath done them, he shall surely live. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteous of the righteous shall not be upon him. The righteousness of the righteous shall not be upon him. And
Shall be upon him.
Shall be upon him. What is going on over here? And the wicked. No, I got the big print Bible, so I ain't got to wear that.
And still have a problem. That makes it even worse. I wouldn't have said that, bro.
Hey, I ain't ashamed of nothing I do. Come on. And the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. But if the wicked will turn from all his sins that he has committed, and keep all the statutes, all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live. He shall not die.
So he says if a wicked man turn from his wicked way and do that which is good, he shall live. That's the mercy of our God.
That's right. Wait on us.
Think of this mercy, and we're going to hit some mercy in the wisdom of Solomon. Think about this. Judas Iscariot. Judas was the one disciple who was raised, who grew up with Christ. Remember the other ones he chose along the way in his adult life. Judas was the one who grew up with him. Remember, out of his choosing, Judas wasn't the one he told, drop what you're doing and come with me. Judas was always there. Now, mind you, he said Judas had a devil since he was little.
Yeah.
You read the lost books, you see the story of infancy where Judas stole Christ in the side that he was pierced on the cross. Punched him in the side. They were little boys, adolescents. Judas come from the same projects as Christ in Nazareth. Same hood. Now this is the mercy of our Messiah. that he allowed this cat who had a devil since he was a youth to come up with him in the same fold, the whole nine. He was a thief. He was a rotten cat, a banger. He was all that. But he wasn't no punk.
He was a willing.
Peter didn't run up against him. Now remember, Peter was the hard one, chopping off ears. But Peter didn't flex against Judas. Judas wasn't no punk. He was just impatient and just out of his element. But he wasn't no chump. You think Christ gonna have some chumps running with him? No, not by the least. Judas had moral issues. Okay? But the mercy of Christ, he allowed him to come up in the ranks with him all the way up in his 30s. 30 plus years to get it together. And he chose not to. Before the flood came upon the earth, the inhabitants of the earth were given 120 years before Noah went into the ark. 120 years, and they still did not repent until the rain started coming down. And he said, this time will be just like in the days of Noah. They shall be eating and drinking, kicking it and partying.
Giving away in marriage.
Trapping and all that. Same as what was going on in the days of Noah until he entered into the ark. That's why he says, seek him now while he can be found, because the day is going to come. It's going to be cut off.
The door going to be shut.
They are already in the process of cutting it off, because you see what they're trying to do is portray Israel in the light of the public as a black nationalist terrorist group. So when you identify yourselves in your workplace and everything, it allows them to either fire you, persecute you, imprison you, or do whatever they see fit, because you are a terrorist. You belong to a hate group, and we have to protect ourselves. I fear he was going to run up in here with a dynamite vest. We ain't crazy. We crazy, but we ain't stupid. We don't want to die like that. We don't even like seeing our own blood, let alone blowing our damn selves up. Nigga, we ain't that crazy.
Might kill you, I ain't gonna kill me.
It's gonna backfire because they really bringing more people to the awakening, because they make this about nationality. People gonna start looking at what makes these Khazars.
But it has to happen though.
It's gonna happen.
It has to happen.
These are prophecies unfolded. They have to go down.
It's going down.
It's just like the event of Esau and Jacob, the birth and everything. The elder shall serve the younger. That was already prophesied before they even came into existence. Certain things had to take place for it to fall right in line. Now, is that predestined? Could be. However, man still has a free choice. But see, the Most High says, I know you in your mother's womb. I know what you're all about. I already know what you're about. But I'm going to give you a chance and opportunity and see what you're going to do. Remember when Satan came to persecute Job? He said, I said before you my servant. He said, go do what you're going to do. But I already know him. I know how he's going to respond to this. He's going to come out acing this.
Unscathed.
I know. Because he's already exemplified his faith in me. Just like Abraham. He had already exemplified what faith was. He knew he was going to do right. That's the predestination, because once you start exemplifying by the walk, not just by your talk, but through your walk, then he already know he ain't finna fold. I already drug him through problems and issues and afflictions and tribulations and temptations, and he came out unscathed.
Right. If I could land back off of something,
Christ was even tempted.
That what you're talking about, like, is if we know that the Gentiles are going to grab onto the skirt of evil to follow. So
Got the
truth that we tell and the lies that they tell, true believers are going to, the ones that have an ear to hear, they're going to know who to latch on to. We are just under a thing now where we have to go underground as the believers that we are, because we can't tell everybody who we are. We're the same people, but you can't say that. We're always having to give an explanation of it. So I just don't even say it no more. Period.
Just say you're a Christ follower.
Just keep
I'm a
saying
keeper
I
of the
believe in
commandments.
Bible and I follow as best I can, because what you're going to give them is enough for them to come to you without saying anything.
And
But it's all about the word.
Sometimes it might not be the person you're talking to, it's that person that's over there. Sneak listening, absorbing it.
Yep.
In that case, keep listening.
Yep.
Yeah, see.
They got to use all the tools they can. The radio say you cute today. They can't do them watching every book. They can't do no bad.
No.
They can't do book very hard about black people.
Right.
Brother in the back.
Number two.
President Trump saying the deal yesterday made Judaism a nationality.
Right.
Yeah, Wednesday. He did that Wednesday. He signed a declaration.
Made Judaism a nationality.
Netanyahu to make Judaism. It's an anti-Semitic law, but at the same time, he making it to where anything according to the Bible reference to Abraham, his declaration trumps that is what he's basically putting it like he's the man that make Israel
The author of the Bible, right.
a nation for real. It's a true nation, and if anybody speak against it, it's automatically hate crime. This was Wednesday.
It's gonna put the spotlight on their lives.
Right. Yeah, but
They knew what the end result.
Right.
But see, but see, these all things are set in place.
It's prophecy.
It's all being set in place, and everybody say, well, man, Donald Trump, he was put in there for a reason, a purpose. He's serving a purpose. Everything is done with a purpose. Most High say everything he creates is good. It serves its purpose in its due time.
And again, it's order out of chaos.
Right.
He causing a lot of chaos right now. Because, people already know these people were from Poland and England and Germany. And they have no bloodline root even nowhere near that place where they claim it's theirs.
Let's get back to this.
Okay.
Let's finish this up, y'all, because we ain't even skinned the surface again.
Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 22.
Elijah, Imam Barb got a question.
Excuse me while I use Brother Jacob's term as Scottish. But when he says this, those that are like us, melanated, who agree with the Khazars. I know a lot, I had who are looking at us, and they say that they are, and will fight me to say that they are the So what about them? What role would they play according to Scripture?
Well, our people, Israelites that consulted with.
Well, those that I know there's some that I know that are part of the Judaism, and they agree that
Sammy Davis Jr. was on.
that they're those Jews are Jews and fight you right on hand. Does that go to the same thing when you say all Hebrew and not Hebrew?
All Israel or not Israel, yeah. And that's anyone but that's also talking about not just them, but any Israelite that claims anything other than his true heritage. Any gangbang, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, whatever. Any Baptists who claim a religion as their identity and heritage. Baptists, Catholics, all that. Anybody that's claiming to be something that they're not.
In an allegiance with something.
In an allegiance, and these allegiance that they pledge to are contrary or against the Most High and his children, his chosen. That's why he said you should be ashamed of the stocks and the oaks in which you have chosen to yourself. Because they're going to bring you shame in the end, because he's going to reveal the nakedness of them, the truth of them. Those with idols, all those religions. Just like in Jeremiah, he says we set up an altar on every street corner. As many as our temples erected to Baal, and to burn incense unto that shameful thing. On every street corner is a church of various denominations in Israel. You don't see a church and a liquor store and a Chinese restaurant on every corner in West County and South County. But you see it in every aspect of where Judah lives. Mm-hmm. And we love it so. We set it up. We pay for those buildings. And then we want to lodge in them and say that the Lord lives here. And on every street corner, they are robbing the poor, because there's poor people that reside in the communities which have about 5, 6, 7 churches within, a 6 blocks radius? Mm-hmm. And each one of them is pimping our people. And none of the people in that community can get help from the church. If Sister Mary is short on her light bill, she can't get no help from the church. If she about to lose her house or get evicted or anything, they can't get no assistance from the church. They tell them, we'll pray for you. But have my tithes come Sunday so you can get a blessing. Well, what blessing am I getting? I'm finna get thrown out of my house with no food and everything. But he living comfortably. Off your back.
See, let the wheat and the tares come up together, because we already know we're going to separate them both.
Let's get back to this. We got any other questions out there too, Bob? No. Let's get back to this. Let's roll, y'all, because, man, we got a lot. Y'all going to have a lot of homework.
Yeah. Ezekiel chapter.
What y'all want to do?
It's food for your soul. You should love it.
Thank you, brother.
Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 22. All his transgressions that he has committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him. In his righteousness that he has done, he shall live. Have I any pleasure at all that the wicked should die, says the Elohim Yahweh, and not that he should return from his ways and live.
Now put in your arsenal, right at that script, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1 verse 24 and Wisdom of Solomon 1:13. So you can, 1:13 and 11 and 24.
And 2 Peter 3.
Because the Most High has not put death. He don't wish that anybody should die. Matter of fact, hold that. Let's hit that Wisdom of Solomon real quick. That 1:13. We try to give script for the things that we try to edify in, and let the script be the interpreter thereof. Sometimes we just have to roll and try to break it down as much as possible and keep it moving because of time. However, when we have to bring out
13, chapter 1 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You got 12 going once.
And then hit that Wisdom of Solomon chapter 11 and verse 23 through 24.
Everybody there?
Yeah.
All right, the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1 verse 12. Seek not death in the hour of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands.
So he says, don't do it to yourself. So if he's saying choose and don't do this, that's a free will. Mm-hmm. You have the opportunity to either choose life or choose death. That's on you. Mm-hmm. He says, seek not death. Now, and we just hidden in Isaiah, he says, seek the Most High while he can be found. Mm-hmm. The Most High is life. Mm-hmm. He says, seek not death. Don't choose death. Choose life that thou mayest live. Read on, brother.
Verse 13. For God made not death.
He made not what?
Death. Neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living.
Most High say he didn't create death. Death was brought when transgression came. He didn't create transgression. Most High didn't create sin. It was found in Satan. When Satan came to earth, and we're going to hit these scripts because we have to understand that we ain't dealing with flesh and blood here. The war we dealing with is a spiritual war. And you better be spiritually girded up. Otherwise, you will be taken. Because the Most High roams to and fro throughout the whole earth, seeking who he can devour. You can't see him. You know him by his fruit. Because he can be in any one of us.
Yep.
So you better be on your point, on your P's and Q's. Slip don't count in this life.
Sure don't.
Oops, I slipped. That's your ass. Slip don't count, y'all. We got to get it together. Seek the Most High now while he can be found. Because the day is going to come where you won't find him. If it's not in your heart, you ain't going to find him. Read on, brother.
Verse 14. For he created all things that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were helpful. And there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth. For righteousness is immortal. But ungodly men with their works and words called it to them.
With their works and their words. They chose it to them. They called it unto them. They wanted to be confederate with death. Sold their souls for a piece of paper.
Plain death. Plain death.
Read it on, brother. They called it to them.
For when they thought to have it their friend, they consumed to naught and made a covenant with it, because they are worthy to take part with it.
When you're doing all that paper chasing and you make a confederacy with Mammon, Mammon becomes your God. Now understand something. Ecclesiastes also says that money is a defense and it answers all things.
Right.
So it has to be placed in its proper context.
Right.
But the love of money, 1 Timothy 6 and 10 says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Because in paper chasing, you don't care who you offend, you just got to get the bag.
Where the bag? Who got my bag?
Now check this out, y'all. Me and the real, we saw this last night on TV, on the news, and today on the news.
Get that wisdom.
And I was telling her, y'all know it's this time of the year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And y'all know where all the majority of the malls are at. Okay? So how often do you see cats from the hood go out there, steal, take all they want to, whatever, run through there, and then it'd be a high-speed chase from there because they done ran out there and just bum rush the store and run up out of there and all. And I told my rib, I'm like, boy, every year I just get embarrassed. It just embarrasses me because that's all you see, these little cat. And then when I say by being embarrassed, is how do these people feel? We live way out here, and they come from the city.
Well, you don't know how they feel. They be on TV saying,
steal all our stuff.
This don't happen out here.
It just embarrasses me, you know, to just, our people are like that, don't care for nothing. Y'all, the little cat that got shot on the highway, everybody thought it was an accident. Now they dumped them on them on the highway, didn't care. What you got?
They still,
right.
They just had.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. But when
fraud, they still.
Yeah, I'm sure they. But we don't see that like that, you know. And plus they
don't commercialize their stuff.
Right. They don't broadcast it like that. It just makes it seem like it's just us that's running out there, way out there in their neighborhoods, taking their stuff and making it back to the ghetto.
It ain't that.
But they control the media.
The earth was handed
control
to
the
the
media,
wicked.
so they ain't gonna display their wickedness.
Right.
All you gotta do is go to FBI .gov.
It's mostly them.
It's mostly
Yeah.
white people.
Yeah.
They lead in rapes, violent crimes.
They lead
Everything.
in all of it. But we
And
lead,
welfare
we lead in the prison
recipients.
system.
I'm gonna have to go to FBI down here because they ain't going. They not getting
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, y'all. Let's move forward.
What verse?
24.
Alright. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 24.
Start at 23.
Yeah,
23.
I'm gonna say that.
Start at 22.
22.
Stop playing.
Can I get a 21? 21, no.
Everybody there?
Yeah.
Alright. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 22. For the whole world before thee is as a little grain of the balance, yea, as a drop of the morning dew that falleth down upon the earth. But thou hast mercy upon all, for thou canst do all things, and winkest at the sins of men, because they should amend. For thou lovest all the things that are, and abhorrest nothing which thou hast made.
So the Most High said everything He's created, like He said in Genesis, everything that He's created is good. Even those things that are labeled unclean are good because they are created for a particular purpose.
He made them.
All right? Read on.
For never wouldest thou have made anything if thou hadst hated it.
So He ain't gonna create something that He hates.
Right.
What brings about the hatred is the disobedience of that which He created. Read on.
Verse 25. And how can anything have endured if it had not been thy will, or been preserved if not called by thee? But thou sparest all, for they are thine, O Lord, thou lover of souls.
Love of souls. All right. Let's get back to this Ezekiel. Let's finish this Ezekiel out so we can get back to, we don't have to go back to that Isaiah 55 because we got that 7, what I really wanted to go to. We'll go to that Matthew 6 and 33, and then we'll move on to some other scripts. Hit these couple of scripts where people are used for the predestined and everything, and we get that out of the way. We hit some scripts about free will, and then we're gonna go into some of these last days prophecies. By that time, it should be the
7:30.
We're going to be coming out the pocket. Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 24.
I'm gonna be like Daniel. I ain't gonna talk no more.
Yes, you is. Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 24. But when the righteous turn away from his righteousness and cometh iniquity. Committeth
What's
iniquity.
going on, Zach?
My eyes watering. They are watering though, really.
They said no, for real.
They are. And committeth iniquity, and doeth according to all the abominations of the wicked man, do it, shall he live. All his righteousness that he had done shall not be mentioned. In his trespass that he has trespassed, and in his sin that he has sinned, in them shall he die.
So this is a saying that my pops, I'm sure others have heard this, especially people from down south, that one mess up is worth a million attaboys.
Yeah.
When I was young, for the life of me, I couldn't understand what that meant. And I pondered over it for years and years. It wasn't until I became a grown man and experienced enough that I understood perfectly what it meant. That perfect example, Michael Vick. I use him because he's a perfect example to use. All the good stuff that Michael Vick did, all the records he broke. Once he was brought up on them dog fighting charges, none of those good things were ever remembered anymore, nor mentioned. Now his name is mud in the mouth of many. And the thing is, he wasn't even the one doing the dog fighting. But his name was attached to it and they utilized it to bring him down. Same with Michael Jackson, same with Prince, all them other celebrities that started doing things who wanted to go against the grain of turning their back on Satan, that contract that they didn't sign for fame and fortune. Now they want, in their later years, they want to have some conscience and want to give back to the people and talk to the people and do for the people. No, you got to pay the piper, man.
That's right.
Because you think he's going to allow you to sign that blood oath and then get out of the contract when you feel, oh, well, I messed up. I want to do good. No. You enjoyed them riches too much. You already enjoyed the reward. You got to pay for that. If you sell your soul, he got a reward, he got a receipt for you. Not that you can actually sell your soul because it belongs to the Most High. But you having no clue in your ignorance thinking that you could sell something that don't even belong to you.
Well, we got gangbangers claiming blocks that don't belong to them.
But you have one car or two white men with a badge and a gun come and clear the whole block out. And all these Negroes got AR-15s and all high-powered machinery, and they scat.
Down for my set.
And they got the tattoo of the street name on it.
Yeah, I'm down for my set.
And then the cops
Here come the police.
would take their spray paint and write on their walls, "This is our hood now." Let's finish this out, bro.
Verse 18, chapter 18, verse 25. Yet ye say, the way of the Elohim is not equal. Hear now, O house of Israel, is not my way equal, or not your ways unequal?
Now we gonna say he's unright, but it's us that's unright. He made everything perfect. We're the ones that's not perfect. Read on.
Verse 26. When a righteous man turneth away from his from his righteousness, and committeth iniquity, and dieth in them, for his iniquity that he hath done, shall he die? Again, when the wicked man turneth away from his wickedness that he has committed, and doeth that which is lawful and right, he shall save his soul alive. Because he considereth and turneth away from all his transgressions that he has committed, he shall surely live, he shall not die. Yet saith the house of Israel, the way of the Elohim is not equal. O house of Israel, are not my ways equal, or not your ways unequal? Therefore, I will judge you, O house of Israel, every one according to his ways, says the Elohim Yahweh. Repent and turn yourselves from all your transgressions, so iniquity shall not be your ruin. Cast away from you all transgressions, whereby ye have transgressed, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. Why will ye die, O house of Israel? For I have no pleasure in death of him that dies, says the Elohim Yahweh. Wherefore, turn yourselves and live ye.
So the Most High says, as long as a man has breath in his body, man, you have the opportunity to turn away from your wickedness. Most High said he'll forgive you. You shall live. What did the thief on the cross say to Christ? Now he had been living the whole life of unlawfulness. But because of his faith,
Get that 2 Peter 3:9.
it was his sins were forgiven. He was pardoned, and he told them, "On this day you should be in paradise with me." So his name is written amongst the living, even after a life of sin. But at his dying time, he's like, "No, I know my ways wasn't right. I believe in you because I know you are the Savior of the world. I know you can bring me into your everlasting rest, even though I have sinned the way I've done." He said, "I will remember your iniquities no more. Though they be red as scarlet, they shall be white as snow."
But you know, you can't use that as a tactic to try to get his blessing.
No.
I know your heart. He knows whether or not you're gonna what you live.
He know, but see, that same thief showed compassion when Christ was a baby. See, he has already made his way a sure way. He's already showed his faith. There's already records of his faith before he even got to that point. He just lived a law of unlawful life. He ran with the wrong crowd for a long time, even though his heart may not have been in all of the crimes that he committed. Because there are a lot of people that are driven into crime, a life of crime, by peer pressure and circumstances. There's a lot of children that are growing up in our neighborhoods who are confided into gang life and dope life because of the influences which they're surrounded by in their environment. They don't know nothing different. This is all they know until they are presented with something different and they're given the opportunity to choose rightfully. But then, up until that point, they don't know no better. That's a sense of ignorance. But they will get the opportunity because every man has to bow the knee and shall confess. And the only way you can do that without being held, given a free pass, you have to know that the law exists. You have to know that it's there. You have to know that there is salvation versus damnation.
It covers what it is, you know. Now he ain't got no way, they can't stop.
Right.
They ain't got that voice to know, they still have sit down for it. They ain't got that on them, they need to keep going.
Right. That's why he says, he that spared the rod hated this child. Because now the rod has been withheld from our children now, because now the system says we are the fathers, we are the caretakers of the children. So we don't want you disciplining them because we want your children to be as foul as our children so that we all go to the lake together. Misery loves company.
See, throughout this 18, we didn't read where it said, like what we know, what we've heard. You know, you ain't, your daddy was, you ain't gonna be, you know, and what a child is indoctrinated with. That's not the sins because that father was no good. You just chose a no good nigga to be with and had a child with. That child had nothing to do with what his father was. That was your choice. But if you keep telling that child and he grew up thinking, first of all, what daddy that you talking about that I ain't like? You know, how bad was my daddy that I don't, he ain't around, you know, he was this, he was that, he still don't know who this man is, but you constantly telling him he likes somebody that he don't even know. That boy grew up confused. And all I'm finding out is that my mama told me my daddy wouldn't, and I ain't supposed to be. So what is there out there for me?
Okay.
See, you putting them in a cycle of something that I'm only supposed to, I never was supposed to be, because that's what my mama told me. When she's supposed to have been telling you this. Regardless of the fact of who his daddy was. And if she'd have known this to teach them, he wouldn't have had a daddy like that. She wouldn't have been messing with a daddy like that. But once they took this away from us, what do you expect? When you have a generation that was never taught this, and they have babies, they don't know to teach. They don't know to teach. Okay. In the Ezekiel 18, and what we went to, you know, where the father is not held accountable for the sin of the son.
You did say 3, man. My bad. I got it wrote down.
Where we going now?
2 Peter 3.
Yeah, I got it. It's 1 verse 9, right? 8, 9. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. Everybody there? It says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance.
Most High says he's placed repentance there that everyone should come, but not everyone's going to come. The world was made for many, but only few will be saved in it.
Broad is the way, narrow is the gate.
Matthew 6. We just gonna we're gonna try to move on through this Matthew 6:33.
One of my favorites, boy.
33 and 34.
Matthew 6, 33 verse 34.
You know what? Start and we're gonna go up before the end.
25.
Can I get one?
Start at 19.
So,
Start at 19.
Matthew 6,
19.
chapter 19. Verse 19.
Matthew 6, chapter 19.
See, he got readers on.
What's your excuse?
I'm just saying, there's something in the air. There's something in the air that's getting in our eyes.
I didn't see 19. I said 19. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt.
Hey man, what's going on with you?
And where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust where thieves do not break through nor steal.
It ain't just me.
Boy, y'all speaking with
Told y'all it ain't just me.
So the Most High say, seek the kingdom first. Seek the kingdom. Lay up treasures that a thief cannot enter in, because the Most High will dwell there. So he's not going to allow a stranger to enter into his tabernacle or into his garden again and to break up his fallow ground. All right. So he said in this next, when we get back to Eden, which we're trying to get back to, which is the beginning, which is Adam before transgression, he said, can't nobody get into that. In the book of Revelations 21, the 12 gates, the pearly gates, then there's a court of the Gentiles, Revelations 11, to measure not. Well, the Gentiles and the strangers can only go so far. They can't enter into that tabernacle. That's only for Israel.
What this is also saying too is that the work that we put in, we are investing in a heavenly account. That's right. You can't make it to the kingdom.
Kingdom bucks.
Everything that you do, and you get judged to go to the kingdom, and then you get there and you open up your safe and it's got cobwebs in it. I made it to the kingdom, but I'm broke. Is that what that's supposed to be?
You ain't got no kingdom bucks.
No, it's the work that we're putting in. That money is being saved up for us.
That's the bag you should be chasing.
These are things that we're supposed to be working for, to store up for, where it says that neither, we're going to get this right now, neither moth nor rust corrupt. So
you knew you was finna mess that
up? So the things that we have here, it's saying we working for the wrong things. You know, we all have treasures that we, work. We supposed to. You work, you supposed to enjoy the fruit of your labor. You supposed to be able to say, I want to go out and buy the car that I want, not have to buy a car because I need a car. There's a difference. There's a difference in needing a car and buying a car that you like. Okay? So the difference is, he's saying, don't be working hard here to get a car you can't afford.
They do though.
Okay? So if you trying to buy a car that you can't afford, then you working for the wrong thing. But we're supposed to be working our spiritual lives here putting in work, that we're storing up those treasures there.
Spiritual credits and debits.
Exactly. So that it's you don't look at it like I'm saving up for a Mercedes in heaven. No, but it's the treasures you're going to have to. What we're putting in, this work that we're doing, we're investing in ourselves. We're investing in our, as you would say, a heavenly bank account.
Well, what also is that we are appointed for a purpose. Mankind was created for a purpose. That's why he says this temple is not ours, but our lives were lent to us, and it's going to be required of us.
Right, and there you go. We temple. There you go.
So he says in the book of Luke, he says that the man with the money bag gave his servants, left his servants talents to do something with that money.
1 penny.
And so when he came back, he wanted to know, well, what'd you do? Did you increase in your goods or did you not? And those that did not, he was buried with that which he had, and that which he had was taken from him because he did nothing with it. So we have a purpose in this life, and that's to turn others on to the word and to the word of God and bring them unto the fold of salvation. Right. That's our particular job.
Being fruitful and multiplying.
That's the labor,
Right.
that we may enter into eternal rest. Not just this 7-day rest in which afterwards you go back to labor again.
Look for that 8th day.
And you're laboring with strife and anguish and all kind of anxiety and all these issues. That's why the Sabbath was created, so you can regenerate yourself for the next 6 days. But this eternal rest that we're working for is forever.
It means rest from sorrow.
Rest from all those things.
Yes.
From all those things. Let's see. The name of the class?
Choose life
that thou mayest live. Choose life that thou mayest live. So we're dealing with free will today.
Working for the Lord don't pay much, but the retirement plan is out of this world.
Yes, it is.
Hey, the benefits, the perks and the benefits, man.
I want to take this back to 20 again, because in 21 is going to hit on the point. It says, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, where thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." That's right. So if you're working for the things here in this life, your heart is here in this world, in this life. If you're storing up for treasures in heaven, your heart is already in heaven.
Exactly.
Your heart is already where it's supposed to be.
So that's the predestination.
And that's why you see a lot of people, like when their house burned down, they act like their life is over.
Yeah.
Because that was their life.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
They ain't happy to be alive. They say, well, thank God for breath, but my house, all of my things, I have nothing. You still got breath.
You can start over. Yeah.
But they don't even count that.
Nothing.
Verse 22. "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thine whole body shall be full of light."
That means if you have tunnel vision on doing righteousness, then the whole body, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You gonna, just like in Romans 13, it says, love working no ill towards his neighbor. You won't have, it won't enter into your psyche. If you love your brother, you ain't finna go visit your brother with the intention, well, I'm finna rob him.
Right.
I'm finna do a home invasion and everybody gonna get it.
That's pure evil.
That's evil. When you was just supping with him the night before and hollyhocking and laughing and enjoying each other, now tomorrow you wanna kill him?
That's what we got
and
going
coveting
on.
all his goods? That's going on now. Why? Because of the disobedience of mankind. The covetousness.
So like he's saying, even though this is specifically speaking about one physical body, it's also twofold about us as a body, as a congregation.
Yes.
We
Being
know
on
the
one
love
accord.
that we share. We know the love that we share as a person, as a body, as a family. All our texts is all love. It's a beautiful thing for men to tell each other, I love you. I love you, brother. And we mean that. We mean that because we walk together, because we choose to serve the Lord together. Together. I saw you. Read on. Oh, it's my Verse 23. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
Money.
Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold, the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they?
So he's saying here's a species of creation that don't even work. But the Most High feeds them on a regular. He created us in his image. Are we not much more valuable than the fowls of the air? If we are created in his image, then why wouldn't he clothe us? Why wouldn't he provide for us? His children. Don't a father provide for his children? Supposed to. And we have much more greater than a father here. He's the creator of all things seen and unseen. Read on, brother.
Verse 27.
Yes, sir.
Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature?
Which one of us can just think, man, I want to be 6 feet tall, and boom, and we 6 feet tall?
Don't Daniel say that all the time?
Hey, in our dreams, we probably imagine it. I could draw myself 6 feet tall, but it ain't gonna happen.
28. And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or whether withal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Because then you'll know how to deal with it when you have it.
That's right.
Therefore,
Solomon, let me cut you off. Solomon in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 7, he said he prayed for wisdom, knowledge and understanding, and everything was added unto him that came with it. Riches,
Because he
honor,
wanted
and glory.
wisdom to rule the people. He was looking for other people, not just for himself.
And also in this 33, the Lord is telling you simply, you do me, I got you. So he's letting you know simply, just do me. Study me, learn me, worship me. I know you need to eat. I know you need to drink. I know you need a crib. I know you need a ride. I know you need a job. I know you need all these things. Do you want these things? Our problem is we go try to get them ourselves. So we end up with the wrong woman, the wrong house, the wrong job, wrong children, wrong these, wrong those. And he said, if you'd have just did me, nigga, I told you.
You'd have had everything in
had
that.
everything you wanted. So then we learned the hard way. Okay, Lord, now I'm ready to serve you.
Better hope he waiting
Give me
on
the
you.
pounds, right?
The Most High says in Sirach 39 and 6, he said, be content with what you have because he's provided you with raiment, with breath, food, shelter. If you have these things, then do the work that you need to do because all your requirements, everything that's your necessity has been provided. But you will get these things if you work. You don't work, you don't eat. You don't eat, you don't sleep. And if you sleep, it's not a good sleep. Theo.
When we talk about 33, brought back to me Deuteronomy 28. If you just obey him, you get the 1 to 14.
Let's go.
So that's just the
Verse
covenant.
15,
And
Deuteronomy.
see, I like what really grinds my gears is when you see people just going after this stuff, they just be so bent on getting all these worldly pleasure and debt, stuff you don't need, yachts and stuff like that. You know, instead of seeking the kingdom is obedience. You gotta be obedient to get the kingdom. But they see like this is the best life. Like they said, riches, gold.
Yeah, they living their best life.
Yeah, all the stuff that you don't really need. 15 cell phones, 5,000.
No, but that's why he says a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of Yahweh because he trusts in his riches and not in the riches of the Most High. When you trust in worldly riches, the world is enmity with the Most High. What it provides, it's not what the Most High is providing.
You know what? When you seek the Most High, you be satisfied. You be content.
You content.
But when you seek worldly things, you never be satisfied.
You're never satisfied. You want more. You want more and more. And guess what? You end up dying and leaving it all to somebody else that didn't even work for it. Because when you die, guess who's arguing over your possessions at the
Your
funeral?
loved ones. The
They
ones that
fight.
love you the most, now they hate each other over your stuff.
And they hate verse 34. Right. Take therefore no thought for tomorrow. For the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. You be like, if the Most High willing. You don't know if tomorrow is promised to you. You don't have a clue. But we take it for granted. But if we seek the kingdom first and seek the righteousness of the Most High first, then death coming unto us ain't no thing. Because we would die and sleep peacefully knowing that our resurrection is great.
With the Most High.
But if you are living in terror, man, get that 2nd Ezra 7.
Oh, we finna go there now.
What time we working with y'all?
3:17.
3:17.
You might be able to get a half a shot.
No, we're gonna get quite a bit in real quick.
Real quick?
If I stop
We
talking.
won't do nothing real quick.
Real quick.
You think we do take a minute.
Yeah, it's like this the slow me state.
But that's cause edification is going forward though.
Hey, but before I get so far past the predestined, because I wanted to show the difference between free will and predestined, mark these down for your predestined scriptures. Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8, verse 29 through 30, but like we always say, read the whole chapter. And Ephesians chapter 1, 5 through 11 is the meat, but read the whole chapter. Ephesians chapter 1, 5 through 11, but read the whole chapter. And you'll see where he's talking about those being predestined to righteousness and everything. But he's talking about predestination only comes when you have already exemplified and established righteous ways, and your walk is already a sure thing.
Right.
Then it's a predestined because now you're working towards that reward which is promised to the forefathers. That's the predestination. If you do right, then ye shall live.
Right, and he couldn't have been saying from the womb, because in that Ezekiel 18, he said if the righteous go off.
Go off from his righteous ways, all that righteousness he done all his life will not be counted.
Counted at all.
He died in his sin.
What then?
So what happens to predestination now? Goes out the window. So we have to understand the words that we're talking about, how it's being used in the context. Apply it appropriately. Just because it says it doesn't mean that you take it for face value. Just like, have you ever read in the scriptures where it says to be nice?
Be nice, just be nice. Thou shalt be nice.
But it says be kind. It says to be kind. Show kindness. Being kind and being nice is two totally different things. Nice is just faking it till you make it. Has nothing behind it. There's no substance in being nice. You can be nice. Nice is just being cordial. How you doing? How you doing? But in your mind, you're like, man, I can't stand that nigga. How you doing? How you doing? Remember Friday? Remember Miss she's like, hey girl, call me after work. She's like, okay. The look that she had on her face, like, we don't kick it. Why you asking me to call you? I don't ever call you. But being cordial, being nice, okay. All right. Knowing doggone well she ain't calling her. She probably got in her car. What the hell that heifer think I'm finna call? I don't get down with her. But she was being cordial and nice. To be kind means that you're going to admonish your brethren because you got love in your heart for him and what may happen to him after the fact. So you may say, hey brother, don't do this because man, this may bring this upon you. Or 5-0 sitting at the corner, bro. Don't do that right now, man. Whatever business you got to handle, man, do that at another time, but you finna get caught up. You admonish, you warn your brother because you love your brother.
But and if that brother say, man, forget you, man, I don't want to.
You shake the dust off your feet and keep it moving. He done chose his way.
Right, get out his way.
He chose his way. That was his free will. He chose to just go on rolling with it. Then deal with the consequences. Once you get caught, don't start singing like a canary on everybody that didn't get caught. Nigga, you got caught. You do the time. Don't bust on me because you got caught.
Come on out, Elijah. They got us.
Y'all come on out, y'all high spot. We busted. No, nigga, you busted.
They got us, dog. Come on out.
Second Ezra 7.
Second Ezra
So you
chapter
saw
7.
that. You caught that. Because I'm reading what you got, and I'm like, ain't no 17.
Where you starting at in that where you want to start at?
Bro, I want you to start because I want to go right where he said, man, it's crazy that man will live his entire life and then 47.
Yeah.
Chapter 7, verse 47.
Verse 47.
Take it 42.
That's
You
all
start.
right. 42 for real. 42 for real?
Yeah.
All right. Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 42. He answered me and said,
What'd you say, Sid?
It started with an answer. What was the question he answered?
right, that's what I'm saying. Why you want to go back to the first?
Yeah, you can't start at the answer to the question. You got to at least ask the question.
We're going back then.
41.
We're going back.
Let's go back to 21.
Take it back to 20.
20.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I got 17.
Uh-oh.
Zeb say he got one.
17.
I'm gonna say one. Keep on going.
17.
Keep going. We're gonna be back to one.
17. See, he's still answering. Right, he
Start at
answered.
9. No, all right. Start at 1. Start at 1. All right, so y'all done it. You done it. Start at 1.
All right, we're reading in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7.
Man, we ain't gonna never get to all these scripts, boy.
We'll start our reading in verse 1.
Onward.
Keep going, big. Get started. Let's go.
Let's get some understanding, family.
Correct. I'm sorry, y'all.
And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my Elohim. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and rule it, if he went not through the narrow? How could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded, and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
So we can't be scared to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Most High didn't give us over to the spirit of fear. If you trust and believe in the Most High, then you stand bold. You stand bold. And you move about by his will. Christ wasn't given over to fear. Read on.
Verse 10. And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, Even so also is Yisrael's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
So up until his transgression, it was open. It's open field. But immediately Adam transgressed. So he says, no, I have to make sure that when man is seeking me, he's going to seek me for sure. He's going to be sound in his faith and his walk. It's going to be sure. That's the predestination. When you start exemplifying the righteous works of the Most High towards your brethren, first towards the Most High and his holy begotten Son by doing the law, statutes, and judgments with faith in Christ. Then you start to show your walk. You become a light to the Gentiles and the non-believers. Abraham showed himself early. All the prophets did. Abel showed himself early through a righteous sacrifice. All the prophets, all the patriarchs, all the matriarchs showed themselves and exemplified their faith through their walk.
Isaac.
Not just by their mouth, not by lip service, but it was by the actions with faith in Hamashiach.
When Isaac found out that he was the sacrifice, he told his father, bind me tight so that I don't even flinch. Bind me tight so I don't even flinch when that knife go in me. I don't want to mess myself up as being the sacrifice.
So that thought, that was in his conscience.
He was
That
a
was in his
willing
heart.
sacrifice.
That was in his heart, a willing sacrifice. He chose, he made a conscious decision, I'm with this. I'm ready to walk this walk. All of them made vows, and they performed. Read on, bro.
Verse 11. Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
So, right here, Adam made a decision. Death wasn't created with Adam. He says when Adam transgressed, then was the decree made that now is.
Right, one man saved into the world.
He didn't create death. When iniquity was found and all that, and transgression was set, then death came into being. Because he told Adam and Eve, he says, choose this or choose that. But if you choose this, you got life. If you choose that, you got death. Because he says, in the day that you touch of it and eat from it, surely you shall die. So the laws were already established early in the garden, in the consciousness.
Right.
When you build a garden, you set a hedge around it, right? To protect it, right? And you prune it. And you dress it like Adam was supposed to do. Well, that's also your conscience. You put a hedge around your belief system. You protect it, right? We're trying to enter back into a righteous consciousness. So our war is a spiritual war. It's a war of the consciousness. He says the flesh wrestles with the spirit. So we up here trying to scrap and bang out physically ain't gonna help nobody, because bodily exercises profited little. You can be strong as I don't know what. It don't mean you're gonna win the battle. I done seen some little cats like Pee Wee Herman knock out a strong buffed cat. David and Goliath. Read on, bro.
Verse 12.
Yes, sir.
Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils, and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit.
Immortal fruit.
If then they that live labor not to enter these straits and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them.
So if you're not willing to be tried in the fire, how can you be worthy of the inheritance?
Gotta be tried.
If you think you just gonna sneak on through unscathed with your foolishness, that's why he says he's gonna bring us out to the wilderness and purge out the rebels. It happened in the wilderness of Zin after Egypt. He purged out some rebels, a whole generation of rebellious folks. Because you can't enter into the righteous kingdom with all that blemish and spot and wrinkle. We have to be like Christ. You can't enter it, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. We have to be changed from this mortal body into an immortal body. Corruptible has to take on incorruption. It won't work. When he told Moses, take off your shoes, you are standing on holy ground. You had something, Jose?
Sirach chapter 2, verse 4 and 5.
What it say,
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. For gold is tried in the fire.
That's right.
And so acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Can't get around it. Can't get around it.
The only way you can be saved is you have to endure the affliction set before you. We're going to read that in here in this 2nd Ezra 7. But this is the condition set before man. Read on, bro.
Verse 15. Now therefore, why disquieted thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present?
He said you worried about what's going on right now. He said you ought to be thinking about what's coming. Right. Because that's where the difference gonna make.
Kingdom bucks, not green bucks.
He said don't set your mindset on what's happening right now, because this is gonna come to pass. Set your mind on that which shall not come to pass but be for eternal, which is the kingdom. We worry ourselves in the things that's going on now today. Read on.
Verse 17. Then answered I and said, O master that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish.
There's the predestination. It was already ordained in the law that the righteous shall inherit immortality, and the ungodly shall perish. That's the predestination. If you do which is right, then you shall live. Read on.
Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things, and hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. And he said unto me, there is no judge above Yah, and none that hath understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Yah that is set before them.
So they have chosen something folly. That is contrary to the Most High. This is their choosing. Read on.
For Yah hath given straight commandment to such as Cain, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment.
The script is everywhere. The Bible is everywhere. We talk about how it's in the hot sheet joints, the bottom drawer.
The thing about it is, though, for them to despise it, you have to know it. So we know what evil is, and we despise evil. They have to know that this is the Lord, this is His Word, this is His Son, this is the Holy Spirit, this is a church building. They have to know that's Him and despise it. You have to know what it is to hate it. You have to, so that's what makes it even worse. The Lord said, I give you these things. And you say, no, I don't want them things. That's despising. I'm cool, bro.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with this lady at work about that. She was like, I was talking about the Bible. She was like, people should know right from wrong. But like you just said, you gotta know the law of God. So like now, you think it's cool for two men to get married.
Right.
That's not the law of God.
Right.
People don't know what's right and wrong. But the Lord's law.
Well, it's presented to every man to choose, because otherwise they can't be held accountable. So every man has to be presented that truth, and they have to have the opportunity to reject it or accept it.
Before they become reprobate.
Because every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess.
Right.
So those that confess should be gnashing of teeth and wailing and gnashing of teeth, because they didn't believe when they had the opportunity to.
Oh yeah, they fulfill prophecy too.
And see, and the example like you just gave though now about two men getting married, you can't say that, oh, it's okay You do that. I don't believe in that. If you want to do that, that's okay. No, you can't do that. You can't agree with that. You can't agree with that. You can't condone it because it makes you just as guilty. Just as weak. You could be a married man with a wife and children and say it's okay. If that's what you want to do, then you do that. I choose. No, it's wrong.
Hey, hold that real quick. Get this Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12. Chapter 12, we're going to come back there and finish that out real quick. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12. 12 and 27.
Here we go. Can I get a 1?
Man. Hold on, y'all. Because there's something, the Most High's mercy is over here in 11 through 17, and then, but I really wanted
24. 1.
Y'all bad. 24 through 27. 27 is the meat, because this is about those who, when they died and they found out Christ was true, and only to be ashamed in the resurrection because all their life they thought it didn't exist. He wasn't true. And only to find out that, oops, it is true.
17 verse. 17, man.
Yeah, we'll go with 17.
17.
Okay,
I say 16.
I say 13. I say 12.
12. Let's go with 12, man. 12. Yeah.
So I heard 11. Going once.
Excuse me for a second.
In verse 5, they talking about they devours a man's flesh. We need to go back to 1.
We finished the last one we went back to.
I know it. I'm still holding that one.
I'm holding 1 too. 1. We'll start at 1. He'll be back with this.
I was gonna say, if y'all hurry up and read while he gone, we might make it.
We'll be to his point by the time he get back.
Yeah. We'll be here to 7:30.
We got it.
Go ahead, bro.
Where you start?
Wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon.
12 and 1.
Chapter 12, verse 1. Go ahead.
12?
Yeah, 12 and 1.
12 and 1.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 verse 1. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended.
See, that's what he's talking about. You can't just agree with that. You got to warn them.
Right.
Go ahead.
That leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. Verse 3.
What you got, candy in your mouth or something, man?
Some seeds. Verse 3. For it was thine will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of men's flesh, and the feast of blood, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that kill with their own hands souls destitute of help, that the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy, how you pronounce that, colony of God's children. Nevertheless, even those thou sparest as men, and didst send wasps, forerunners of thine host, to destroy them by little and little. Not that thou wast unable to bring the ungodly under the hand of the righteous in battle, or to destroy them at once with cruel beasts, or with one rough word, but executing thy judgment upon them by little and little, thou gavest them place of repentance, not being ignorant that they were a naughty generation, and that their malice was bred in them, and that their cognition would never be changed. For it was a cursed seed from the beginning, neither didst thou for fear of any man give them pardon for those things wherein they sin. For who shall say, what hast thou done? Or who shall withstand thy judgment? Or who shall curse thee for the nations that perish, whom thou hast made? Or who shall come to stand against thee, to be revenged for the unrighteous men? For neither is there any God but thou that careth for all, to whom thou mightest show that thy judgment is not unright. Neither shall king or tyrant be able to set his face against thee for any whom thou hast punished. For so much then as thou art righteous thyself, thou orderest all things righteously, thinking it not agreeable with thy power to condemn him that hath not deserved to be punished.
Most High is righteous in all his mercy.
For thy power is the beginning of righteousness, and because thou art the Lord of all, it maketh thee to be gracious unto all.
So the Most High, so who is man to say that the heathen or the Gentile nations can't have salvation? Their salvation won't be the same as our salvation, but they're alive. Is that not salvation as opposed to damnation and everlasting torment? That's salvation. So who are we to say that the Gentiles can't get salvation? Well, who's going to be your servants? So you saying Israel gonna serve Israel after being in servitude from their whole existence? Nigga, are you crazy? Then where's the righteous balance of the Most High then you saying he's not just in his balance.
What would be the purpose of the court of the Gentiles?
Right.
Come on, man.
That's the Israelites that don't know they're Israel.
So they still wandering around outside trying to get it together.
Dunce camp on.
Trying to get, with dunce caps on, trying to get it together, just bumping in.
We're not sure who we are. We gonna stay out here.
Playing bumper cars in the parking lot. Man, that don't make sense. Come on, man. Let's use some common sense that ain't common.
You don't know what's in that book.
That's right. We're trying not to get our names blotted out of that book.
That's right.
See, we read about those who have already did their works and passed on and are written in the book of life. We know David's going to be in the kingdom. We know Moses and all these great men and prophets. They're accounted for. They have already exemplified their walk in this. We're trying to do the same so that we are listed. So those may say, we read their names in the book of life. Read on, bro.
Verse 17. For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest.
So every time somebody's up, like, man, y'all God ain't no God. She show something and prove them wrong. Look at how the heathen rage. And then he tossed them to and fro with his tempests and storms and everything. Oh, they acknowledge him. They might not acknowledge him over the media to us. But trust, ain't it something how people worship other gods, but you never hear them scream out their pagan god in their distress? Why do everybody scream Jesus Christ in their distress? They don't know. Have you ever heard a Pan-African nigga say Horus, Isis, Tammuz? Have you ever heard a Greek scream Zeus? Or any of that?
No, sir. Ain't no
but you will hear Jesus Christ come out of the believer and the non-believer's mouth.
That's the only place where it's salvation at. Right. The rest of them have no salvation.
So guess what?
So why would you call on it?
So guess what? They know better. See, so we asking questions that's already answered. For them to scream his name, they know he exists. So this is how we know every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Whether they knew him not in their unrighteous deeds, like Romans chapter 1 tell us, they did not want to know him because they was doing unrighteous works. So they didn't want to know he existed. Yeah, they played the fool. Huh? What's that? Who? God? Who? Elohim? What? Huh? They know.
Let me say this real quick, that about what he said. How many people do we see that call themselves gangsters, pranksters, and all these other people, and what do they tattoo on their body? A cross.
A cross.
I'm a wicked killer. I'm this. But I love Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They the same
double-minded, unstable in all their ways.
They talking about I'm a killer. But they get a cross tattooed right in the middle of their eye. For what?
Hey, Elijah, they base time on Christ as being
Tyson, BC and AD.
They don't say no other God.
No other God. Time is based off Christ.
Right, before Buddha was.
BC and AD. Where's Buddha? Where's Krishna? Where's Allah? Where's all these pagan gods at? Where these Negroes at? They ain't even existed. They have no breath.
Video, if you could zoom in on this real quick, it's Negroes like this that
Let me see them Negroes.
Oh, that's who he said he from the South.
Who?
Dude called himself Sir Suba Seti.
Sir Suba Seti.
What the hell?
He said Sir Suba Seti.
Oh, is that crazy
Egypt
gangster cat that be sea walking and cussing people out, man? This dude is off the chain, boy.
Yeah, I seen that the other day.
Man, dude is. Bro, cut that madness off, man.
Yeah, that's about all I can say when I watch it right there.
It's clowns like that that's gonna fill up the lake of fire.
When I talk to God, I would answer myself.
But you will see that it ain't just the non-believers, but Israel that know the truth will fall away in these last days during perilous times, falling away to itchy doctrines.
That's right.
So how is it predestined that a man who knew righteousness falls away? We had several brethren of our household who have fallen away. One went and started serving Ben-Ami. And you know what stopped him from serving Ben-Ami? Ben-Ami wouldn't sign his book when he came to town. He was heartbroken. Oh, poor little Tink. Poor little Tink. He didn't get his book signed, so he don't believe. Now he's tossed to and fro, unstable like water. We done seen it happen. Ain't nothing new under the sun. It can't be predestined when one can follow the righteous ways and then count it accursed. If it's so, it wouldn't be written. How can one taste of the life and then count it accursed? It's written, so it happens. How can it be predestined then? If a man could believe and then not believe.
Nimrod.
Yeah, we had several of them here.
Yeah.
We had them all. The same cat that turned me and AZ on, we watched the demons come out of him.
Oh, yes, we did.
We were present together, me, him, and Daniel, and watched the demons. I had never seen nothing like this in my life, man. I had never seen anything like this in my life. But to actually see a demon in a man is baffling, to say the least.
It was as if he had cotton in his eyes.
Bruh, this was the same cat that turned me on to the truth. My whole household, his household. All three of us studied under the kneecaps of Daniel and Jacob. Every Sabbath in the basement.
Starting on the beginning of the Sabbath on Friday, basically.
Then we watched him become a paranoid schizophrenic. He started going to a soothsayer. Seeking a witch doctor.
That was the story.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Going to the witch of Endor.
Yes, he was. Riding around with urine in his car.
What?
Lemonade. They had this boy wigging out, man. Had him falsely accusing brethren around him because the witch at Endor, Miss Rudolph, was telling them it's some fat guy, somebody looking at your girlfriend. They want your girlfriend. She's just speaking in general. Shit, that could be anybody. But he started imagining it was this guy or that guy. Next thing you know, he just eliminated everybody around him. Burnt up all the bridges, everything, man. We saw it. We seen it happen. We know it's true. It happens. A man turned from his righteousness and become wicked.
He turned to his own mind.
Wallowing in the mire. Man done cleaned out them demons and cleaned up his house and returned back to it all clean and garnished and take on seven demons worse than the one. And his last estate he became so paranoid, came over to my house and followed me around my house. I said, bro, I gotta go up and change my clothes, man. Man, I'm upstairs going through my closet. I turn, he right there like, dude, what you doing? Man, I'm trying to change my clothes, bro. He became that paranoid. He's like, skin had turned dark and ashy like death.
Like I said,
sweating profusely. Went back to eating swine like it was delicate.
White right there. Being caught in the eyes and never wipe it out.
Gone.
Just done.
Start picking fights with families. Go over family members' house, knock on the door, they answer the door, he's still on it.
Step outside.
What the hell is wrong with you? I just want to see if you still got it.
I got it.
So we seen it, bro. So it's very real. Read on, bro.
Yeah, I want to get down to 24.
Verse 20. No. Verse 20. No, verse 18. But thou, mastering thy power, judges with equity, and orderest us with great favor. For thou mayest use power when thou wilt. But by such works hast thou taught thy people that the just man should be merciful, and has made thy children to be of a good hope, that thou givest repentance for sin. For if thou didst punish the enemies of thy children and the condemned to death, with such deliberation, giving them time and place, whereby they might be delivered from their malice.
Moses, see the mercy of our God.
Mm-hmm.
Give you time and space, man, to get it right. So why do we take for granted every breath that we breathe on some foolishness? We're not promised the next 5 seconds. But we take it for granted like we are.
Like we did last.
The Most High will do something to each and one of us to get it together. Trust me when I tell you, because he almost made me give up the ghost. And I'm sure this brother know, and this brother know, he walking around with a 9mm slug on his forehead. He's been shot on 2 different occasions, once in the forehead at point blank range.
Multiple in the body.
And 5 times in the body on a separate occasion.
Right.
And still here, praising his name. We can't take it for granted.
No.
You don't know. The second time he was shot, we lost a brother.
Mm-hmm.
The brother that was with him perished.
Didn't make it.
And he was out of our household.
Mm-hmm. Sat right next to me.
A good brother.
I just went through all
We never know. We never know. You don't know. No man knows. The angel can't even tell you when your day is. He don't know.
But you
They
can
don't
have
know.
forewarning. You can.
You get
absolutely
warning?
receive forewarning. You will be.
But we must seek the kingdom now and seek him while he can be found.
Then you ain't even got to worry about it catching you off guard.
Because if you do die, you good to go. Happy are ye.
Even in that moment.
You all right.
Even in that moment. No change. Ain't no persuasion.
What did Job say? He said, I know even in my death I shall see my maker.
That's right.
Because I was promised this. I'm good to go. I ain't worried about dying. I'm good. If I give it up, I'm good to go because I'm on the right path. I fought the good fight.
That's right.
I'm ready to receive my reward. That's the way we have to be. We have to put ourselves in them kind of positions. We have to make those conscious decisions that if it does happen, if and when it does happen, that we're acceptable, that we're comfortable, that we will sleep in peace.
And if it shall pass, he give us more time to repent, space for repentance. So let it be our time to repent until that time comes.
Let's finish this out, bro.
Verse 21. With how great circumspection didst thou judge thy own sons, unto whose father thou hast sworn and made covenants of good promises. Therefore, whereas thou didst chasten us, thou scorches our enemies 1,000 times more.
So the Most High say, hey, even though he punishes us, he punishes our enemies 1,000 times more. We get punished. Remember in Egypt, how we were punished in Egypt? But did you remember in the book of Jasher what happened to Pharaoh and all his men and all that? Remember the plagues that was brought upon Egypt while we was chilling in Goshen kicking it. Remember? They came down and Moses looked in the window, Moses and Aaron and them chilling, they kicking it and partying and drinking and dancing. They like, wait a minute. They in there kicking it and we suffering plague after plague in Egypt. Not one touched Goshen. Just like in our hoods, in our cities, in our nestled, violent, corrupt communities, those tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, typhoons, and all that don't even hit in Goshen. We could be sitting watching TV, enjoying a nice movie and everything. The lights, electricity go out and everything. They ain't got no house. The roof is torn off. Everything. And we sitting there watching, and we until we see the news, we don't even know that happened. Until we watch it, we be like, "Whoa, where did that happen? That just happened, man." We were just watching a good movie, eating and drinking, just like in Goshen.
I think, and that's the same way when I think of Luke 16, Messiah was giving the parable about Lazarus and the rich man.
Yeah.
The reward of the righteous is to see the destruction of
The wicked.
So,
Yeah.
And they see their punishment to see you doing well.
See you exalted in an exalted state.
Like we had Feast of Pentecost a couple of years ago in Forest Park, and it was tornadoes all around St. Louis, but we just got sprinkled on. That was like 2 or 3 years ago.
I thought 3 years ago.
Read on, bro.
Verse, where I was at, verse
We good off of
22.
22, yeah.
Therefore, whereas thou doest chasten us, thou scorches our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy. Wherefore, whereas men have lived dissolutely and unrighteously, thou hast tormented them with their own abominations. For they went astray very far in the ways of error, and held them for gods, which even among the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived as children of no understanding.
So you got a lot of these old Egyptologists and Pan-Africanism cats walking around saying, "What's up, God?" early days of hip hop, they had the 5%ers and the 10%ers, saying that only 5% of the population knew the righteous ways, and the other 95% of the world was lost and in darkness. You still got these knuckleheads running around.
10% malarkey.
They ain't got the 10% yet?
No, they still 5.
But you know what he said? That's the same thing. If I know we've all heard in our lives somebody say, if you don't go to my church, you're going to hell. And I asked him simply, is that fair? I mean, what about the people who live in Mississippi who can't make it to your church? Right. So that's that mentality that's being taught that their way is the
They've been programmed.
Well, and that's the same way as the flee doctrine. How are you instructed to flee and leave your brethren who are locked up in prisons on free cases? So you saying they have no right to salvation?
Well, like saying if you don't speak in certain tongues, like
Oh yeah, that's definitely one.
It's just madness. But see, you'll find those who do those things are those who want to be Lord over their brethren. They want to exalt themselves over their brethren. You ask and see if they will serve up their brethren. Hell no. They ain't serving you, get your own.
Right.
Well, we love to serve our brethren. We feel like we have some worth when we serve each other. We serve our brethren.
That's right.
We're excited to get here and see each other, embrace each other, and share bread and all that. And it seemed like forever before we see each other another Sabbath.
Boy, don't
that we long for that time.
Hey, but the time goes so fast when we do.
It's so fast, man. Like God. And then we walk outside. See, this is what we miss when we're having our own house on Page and Teller. We didn't never have to leave. So it was someone always in the house. I don't care. You could drop by 2, 3 in the morning. Somebody there. You want to get on some script? And it was on and popping.
Monday through Saturday.
Monday through Sunday. Monday through Monday.
Around the clock.
Around the clock.
Around the clock. Boy, it was the
But
spot.
because of our own disobedience, we lost that.
We gonna get
Let's keep it real.
We gonna get another.
We had disobedience that we didn't address appropriately, and so therefore we don't have it anymore. Just like we're not in our own home anymore. We're not in our own land anymore. Because we didn't address things that needed to be addressed immediately and boldly. And so therefore we deal with it. But we're still alive to get it together. Get it right. We can always get it again. But we have to get ourselves together. We have to first acknowledge the fact that we out of bounds.
Constantly.
So let's finish this up, bro.
Verse 25. Therefore unto them, as to children without the use of reason, thou didst send a judgment to mock them. But they that would not be reformed by that correction wherein he dallied with them shall feel a judgment worthy of God. For look, for what things they grudged when they were punished, that is, for them whom they thought to be gods. Now being punished in them, when they saw it, they acknowledged him to be the true God, whom before they denied to know, and therefore came extreme damnation upon them.
Now it's too late. Now it's too late. You done found out, oh, he is true. Most High says, seek him now while he can be found, while you have breath in your body and strength to repent. Do it now. Because the day gonna come when it's judgment, it's too late. It's too late. I'd rather believe it now to find out it's not so than to not believe it now and find out it is so.
In the line of judgment.
Because he says it's everlasting damnation and torment.
Right. See, what we saw earlier was that those people rejected. So to reject something, you have to know what it is. So it said here that by their rejection, their damnation was extreme. There's a difference. Extreme. Just like we talked about treasures in heaven that you get there, that you're storing up, that the work that you're putting in now is for those treasures. Right here, the work that they put in caused them to have extreme damnation. So there's going to be different levels of damnations as well, as we saw that there were different kingdoms in hell. Different kingdoms in hell, there are going to be different levels of damnation. You're already damned, and you're going to get worse damned than damned. Like a level of saying, I wasn't that bad, I could have been on this level of damnation, and it wouldn't have been that bad. No, you're dead. You're in damnation. He's saying there's different levels of damnation. And this one, what we just read, was extreme damnation.
Let's go back to that. At 2nd Ezra chapter 7, I want to get to some meat in there that was
necessary.
Jump. Where'd you stop at, bro?
It was like 22.
Hey, jump down. Jump down.
22.
43. What you say you at?
22.
That's where he stopped at before we went to that other one.
Read down to 24 and then jump over to 43.
Yeah, okay. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 22. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. But his law have they despised, and denied his covenants. In his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works.
So we rejected the commandments.
Wouldn't do his works.
In Hosea 4 and 6.
They're like atheists and what you call them people that don't believe nothing?
Atheists don't believe in
Gnostics.
Gnostics.
I met one of the people I used to in my old church I used to go to, and she had totally turned around. She, you came up with Pentecostal, and she don't believe in anything now. And I'm trying to explain to her that just because you don't believe, you can't not, say I don't believe in this obvious stuff of guilt. It works like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, dude I work with, so I also say the same thing. But he praised Allah, something go good. I thought you didn't believe. I thought you didn't believe in anything. Now you praise to Allah. You got the back thing. But
Just face
they
value.
use it as an excuse, like they said, they use it as an excuse to not obey the Most High, because they do the commandment. But if they think in their mind, if I don't believe it, or if I don't,
I'm excused. I'm excused from the practice.
That's why they kill the prophet, so they don't have to know.
Yeah, you have people that say, if I don't know I'm doing wrong, then I can't be held accountable for it. So I don't want to know. I don't want to know I'm doing wrong.
But they conscience bearing witness against them already.
Right.
It's like that Romans chapter 15 says, you don't want to believe. That makes the Lord to lie.
Right. Of none of God forbid. That's right.
Yeah, that's all.
Exactly. And that's why in Matthew chapter 5, he go through the list of laws, because they ask, he said, I didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill that which was written of him. That's all. The books of Isaiah and Ezekiel and all that. But he didn't come to change the law. He said, because it's by the law that sin you are measured. By everything is gauged by the law. That's why in Matthew 5, he went through a list of law. It has been said according to the law, thou shalt not commit adultery. Then he goes on to the spiritual aspects of obeying those laws, not just the fleshly aspects. Let's hit that verse 43.
Verse 43. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past.
So that's the end of Esau and the beginning of Jacob. He said Esau is the end of this world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world to come. Read on.
Intemperance is at an end. Infidelity is cut off. Righteousness is grown. and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that hath gotten the victory.
Because see, once it is sealed, it's sealed. That's why he always tell us stay steadfast in your faith. Move not. So that when the good man comes back, he finds you doing so. Find you waiting on Christ, on salvation, but doing the work of an evangelist.
Like with your green light on, not your red one. I ain't ready yet.
Can we vote on the line?
No. Hey, it ain't no lots cast.
Verse 46. I answered then and said, this is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else, when it was given him, to have restrained him from sinning.
He said you should have just kept him bound, so he wouldn't sin, but the Most High gave us free will. Free will. Because I have to know that your love is genuine for me. Not because I forced it upon you.
Do right because you
I didn't make you love me. You loved me because you wanted to love me. You chose to love me. Willing love is a better love than a forced love. Because hatred comes in that. Despising, resentment.
And see, what would be the purpose of him having us serve him in a robotic state of mind? We would be just going through the motions, and he would be pleased with that? He wants you to love him because you love him. That's the love that he wants. He could have made us all robots, and we just go through the motions. And then it would be just like a game played out. It's already predictable of what's going to happen. But when you love him because you want to love him,
you're going to love him more.
That's right.
You're going to do everything to protect that love.
That's right.
That it doesn't go away.
To getting his good mercies.
Verse 47. For what profit is it for men now in this present time to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment?
Man, why would we do that to ourselves? To live in heaviness, corruptible, law-breaking, just out of control, only to just come to judgment and do it eternal, but in damnation and torment. If you living unrighteously now you're in danger of being brought before the judge, losing your freedom or your life.
Your soul.
Your soul. Everlasting damnation. And that's because people really don't believe. Don't believe in that which is to come because there's no faith. So they live happily in what's here because they believe in that which is tangible.
Choked up by the word.
Caught up in the word. Huh? Not at all.
Among thorns.
They love it because this is something that they know is guaranteed because they can see it, they can feel it, they can smell it. All that is tangible. I know it exists. But hope that's seen is not hope.
There's no faith.
If you know it's right there, why you hope for it? You know it's there. Faith is the substance of things not seen yet hoped for.
That's right.
That's the kingdom.
And like I said, we said about the Most High, it's like a marriage, it's a covenant, like between a man and a woman. A man, Most High brings the tangibles, provision, protection, leadership.
Ezekiel 16.
Us and women bring the intangibles. Our consistent obedience to the Most High's respect is the number one intangible we give to him. Praise, worship, without being forced. That's the intangible that we can't measure, but the Most High delight in. And in turn, he give us lessons and give us protection. You know, he give us long life.
Because our virtue, and virtue is moral responsibility.
Same thing with man and wife. Women give the intangible, men provide protecting leadership. Women bring, represent the real and public. being submissive and
all that.
you know, all the stuff that women stuff.
But it builds up a solid household and a sure foundation that can't be brought down. Because if you go to the woman, she knows her role and she know how to stop foolishness at the door. My husband's not home. Come back when he's home. He ain't here. What you want? Come back when he's home.
Anybody else? Well,
no, you ain't getting nowhere.
you can have a seat till he get here.
No. And then you come in the house and you like, nigga, what you doing sitting up in my living room?
Put your feet up on.
Oh, your dad let me in. You be looking like, I'll be right back. we need a meeting. We gotta talk. So you don't let this nigga up in my house.
He said he knew you.
Is that what Eve said? He said he knew you.
He was saying the same thing you be saying. It sounded like
I heard Shalom. I thought he was good too.
Said y'all went to high school together.
Let's finish this out, bro. Where we at?
Verse 48. O thou Adam, what hast thou done? For though it was thou that sinned, thou art not fallen alone, but we all that come of thee. For what profit is it unto us, if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death, and that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves, being most wicked, are made vain, and that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly. And the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all. And that there should be showed a paradise whose fruit endureth forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it.
So that's that garden. That's the Garden of Eden. Plentiful fruit, healing medicines, everything, and about it was a hedge, a protection. Read on.
Verse 54. For we have walked in unpleasant places, and that the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death.
So it's a lot of people that's doing this wickedness don't even realize that you gonna pay the piper after death. See, they think they've escaped the punishment because they died and they got away with their earthly crime. You ain't considered the judge of all.
Right. See, it's like he's saying that these little cats out here that ain't afraid to go to jail. See, I go to jail, I lay down, or people that get traffic tickets and say, I'll do these 30 days. How often you give your life away 30 days at a time? What kind of job do you have that you just gonna give your life away and sit up for 3 months because you didn't want to pay a fine for a traffic ticket? But these people know these things when they go to jail. Oh, jail ain't tough. I can go to jail, I can lay down for a minute, whoa.
Oh, out here living their lifestyle.
But the lifestyle they're living, like what the scripture said, you not even considered life after death, what's gonna be for you. You think, oh, I'm gonna lay down in hell, it ain't gonna be bad. Whoa. Hell ain't bad. Whoa, I'm tough. No, you ain't considered that.
Or even those that's talking about, I'm gonna die for my hood, I'm gonna die for my set, I'm gonna die for my homie.
I'm going to
you dying for wickedness?
You know, hey, some people think like this. It's a saying that I heard. They said, I'd rather rule in hell than to serve in heaven.
That's what Tupac said. Tupac said that he gave the Lord an ultimatum. He said he gave the Lord an ultimatum. Tupac, in his song,
Troublesome.
He gave the Lord an ultimatum. He said either take me into heaven and understand that I was a G. Or send me to hell, because I'm not begging for my cursed ass hopeless life. So that's the ultimatum that he gave the Lord. Bye-bye, nigga. Night-night, nigga. What he said, night-night. You gonna let me in heaven the way that I am, and that's what I'm gonna be in heaven.
Shabbat shalom, Ezra. You ain't gotta worry about him.
Hey, good reading, brother. Good reading.
You ain't gotta worry about him.
Like he
You don't.
That's just like the pot. That's like the clay rebelling against the potter.
You just gonna tell him what you gonna do.
Right.
That's just like me. I got paintings back there. It's like a paint. I make a painting. The painting hop off this canvas and say, "Nigga, what you just do?"
Right.
Man, I bust that canvas up so quick, boy. Come on, man. But the Most High is merciful.
Yes.
We've done that repeatedly, and we still exist.
He could have got rid of all of us.
Yeah, this song, put it on YouTube.
Hey, let's finish this out, y'all. Because, man, oh, my God. We only hit about 5 scripts off of this. What time is it? Oh, man.
It's dark outside.
Homework. Come on, bro. Finish this out,
let's
man.
finish this so we can go right into this 8 where we started out with what we wanted to see.
We'll come back on that
8 and 9.
Yeah.
Verse 58. 57.
Slow down, Tito.
Yeah, I heard an 8 over there and it threw me. Verse 57. Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight.
This is the condition.
Yes.
This is what we have to deal with. We are trying to enter into the wide by going through the narrow. We got to go through the straight and narrow to enter into the wide, the sure. We have to endure afflictions and persecutions and ridicule just like Christ did.
That's right.
We have to go through the light mind of that affliction to be accepted. We gotta be tried in the fire.
That's right.
That's what that bitter herb was for.
That's right.
Because even the word of the Most High is like refined silver, tried in the furnace 1,000 times. That's the word. So if we follow that, then guess what? We have to endure the same.
That's right.
That's right. That makes sense.
Read on.
Verse 58. That if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, choose thee life, that thou mayest live. Nevertheless, they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him. No, nor me, which have spoken unto them. That there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. I answered then and said, I know, Yahweh, that the Most High is called merciful, in that he hath mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world, and upon those also that turn to his law, and that he is patient, and long suffereth those that have sinned, as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needed. and that he is of great mercy, for he multiplieth more and more mercies to them that are present, and that are past, and also to them which are to come. For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardoneth, for if he did not so of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them, the 10,000th part of men should not remain living. And being judged, if he should not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put out the multitude of contentions, there should be very few left peradventure in an innumerable multitude. Innumerable.
We still good out there, Tubai?
I said, well, screen share, and I can't see the chat, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody, I'm over here. Everybody good.
Did you want to go into that 8?
8-1.
It gets deep.
Yeah, I was saying, did you want to just keep rolling
Right
into
there.
8 and 9?
We right there.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Roll on.
Go ahead, you.
Then I'll give those, I give some homework for whatever we don't get to cover.
You want 8 and 1, then go over to 9, or keep reading?
Keep going on.
No, just read on, bro.
Read on.
Chapter 8, 2nd Ezra, verse 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few. I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as thou askest the earth. It shall say unto thee that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this present world. There be many created, but few shall be saved.
Oh, remnant. A remnant left.
Few.
Are you sure of yourself?
Kingdom ain't for everybody.
So I was looking for the verse where we read in here where it says that a drop out of a wave. So put your finger in the wave, that drop is what's going to the kingdom of heaven, and the rest of the wave is the lake of fire. I was searching for that. While you find it, then I'll keep reading. Verse 3, again, there be many created, but few shall be saved. So answered I and said, swallow then down, O my soul, understanding, and devour wisdom. For thou hast agreed to give ear, and art willing to prophesy, for thou hast no longer space than only to live. O Lord, if thou suffer not thy servant, that we may pray before thee, and thou give us seed unto our heart, and culture to our understanding, that there may come fruit of it. How shall each man live that is corrupt, who beareth the place of a man? For thou art alone, and we all one workmanship of thine hands, like as thou hast said. For when the body is fashioned now in the mother's womb, and thou givest its members, thy creature is preserved in fire and water. And 9 months doth thy workmanship endure thy creature, which is created in her. Excuse me. But that which keepeth and is kept shall both be preserved. And when the time cometh, the womb preserved delivered up the thing that grew in it. For thou hast commanded out of the parts of the body, that is to say, out of the breast, milk be given, which is the fruit of the breast, that the thing which is fashioned may be nourished for a time, till thou disposest it to thy mercy. Thou broughtest up with thy righteousness, and nurturest it in thy law, and reformest it with thy judgment. And thou shalt mortify it as thy creature, and quicken it as thy work. If therefore thou shalt destroy him which is so great, laboreth with fashion, it is an easy thing to be ordained by the commandment, that the thing which was made might be preserved. Now therefore, Lord, I will speak. Touching man in general, thou knowest best. But touching thy people, for whose sake I am sorry, and for thine inheritance, for whose cause I mourn, and for Israel, for whom I am heavy, and for Jacob, for whose sake I am troubled. Therefore will I begin to pray before thee for myself and for them, for I see the falls of us that dwell in the land. But I have heard the swiftness of the judge which is to come. Therefore hear my voice and understand my words, for I shall speak before thee. This is the beginning of the words of Esdras, before he was taken up. And I said, O Lord, thou that dwellest in everlastingness, which beholdest from above things in the heaven and in the air, whose throne is inestimable, whose glory may not be comprehended, before whom the host of angels stand with trembling, whose service is convenient in wind and fire, conversant in wind and fire, whose word is true and saying constant, whose commandment is strong and ordinance fearful, whose look drieth up the depths, and indignation maketh the mountains to melt away, which the true witnesses. O hear the prayer of thy servant, and give ear to the petition of thy creature. For while I live, I will speak, and so long as I have understanding, I will answer. O look not upon the sins of thy people, but on them which serve thee in truth. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions.
So he says, if you keep his testimonies in afflictions, then we must endure to the end. Set yourselves on being tempted by various things when you come into this walk. You got to get tried. See, the church teach you, once you become a good Christian, life is easy and good.
Same.
You don't have to worry about nothing. The law, you ain't got to do the law. You ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is say, Jesus.
Right. Don't worry about
Jesus, and you going to be saved.
Don't worry about nothing.
You good. You already saved.
Just say it and believe it. See, what he's saying here to the Lord is, Lord, don't waste your time on those that are not even thinking about you. The ones that are, they need you. If you worried about Poo-Poo and Ray-Ray running around here, that's time that you're taking away from worried about the people who are concerned about you. He's asking, Lord, forget about them, because the ones that are serving you, they need you. They need you. Stop worrying about them. Worry about the ones that are trying to do right for you, because they need you doing that.
You're right, what you was looking for is 2 Ezra 9:16.
9:16? Right on, bro. 2 Ezra 9:16. 28. Think not upon those that have walked vainly before thee, but remember them which according to thy will have known thy fear. Let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law. Take no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in thy righteousness and glory.
See, the Most High said he won't forsake anyone that seek him. There's none that called upon the Most High and has been forsaken. What's that? 2 Ezra 2? Sirach, chapter 2. None has sought the Most High's righteousness and then been denied or forsaken. Then you said that his word is void. Read on,
31. For we and our fathers do languish of such diseases, but because of us sinners thou shalt be called merciful. For if thou hast the desire to have mercy upon us, thou shalt be called merciful. To us, namely, that have no works of righteousness. For the just, which have many good works laid up with thee, shall out of their own deeds receive reward. For what is man that thou shouldest take displeasure at him? Or what is a corruptible generation that thou shouldest be so bitter towards it? For in truth there is no man among them that be born, but he hath dealt wickedly. And among the faithful there is none which hath not done amiss.
That's Romans 3. There is none good, no, not one. There is none that doeth righteous.
36. For in this, O Lord, thy righteousness and thy goodness shall be declared, if thou be merciful unto them which have not the confidence of good works. Then answered he me and said, some things hast thou spoken aright, and according unto the word of it shall be. For indeed I will not think on the disposition of them which have sinned before death, before judgment, before destruction. But I will rejoice over the disposition of the righteous, and I will remember also their pilgrimage and the salvation and the reward, and that they shall have. Like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root.
So everybody that's, even though you like the parable of the sower, all the seeds that he planted didn't take root. Some were choked up, some fell on stony ground and all that. But we still, nonetheless, we still have to plant the seed. The Most High will water it. That's if that seed wants it. If it says, hey, this is the life I want, this is the walk I want, then it'll get watered. It will seek its righteousness. It will seek its own salvation. But if he, man, you know, I hear you, dog, but man, this stuff he saying, well, man, I can't go clubbing tonight. Man, I can't watch the sisters twerk like they used. Oh, man. But it ain't no fun. Ain't no more fun. I got a cousin that think like that. For him to turn to righteousness, meaning he can't have no more fun in his life. Nobody said that, but that's his mindset.
And he's the only one that think like that.
That's his mindset that, man, if I'm gonna have to change my ways.
Here's the opposite.
Because he look at me and my wife now that we seem boring now. We boring as I don't know what now. But we kick it. When we're around our brethren, we kick it. We love to have fun. What do y'all do? Do a little sippy and dancey and all that, man. We enjoy ourselves. But we enjoy ourselves in a righteous manner. It ain't nobody cussing each other out. Nobody looking at each other's wife. Nobody despise none of that. We enjoy ourselves in a good manner and can't wait to get together with our brethren again and do it again. Feast and enjoy each other again. We love it. We kick it. Just like people think that because we're into the scriptures, we don't celebrate no holy days. Our holy days are 7 days long, dog. What you talking? Y'all get 24 hours. We get 7 days. What you talking about? We kick it.
See, the difference is what he's saying is that yesterday on my way home from work, I went back to work this week for the first time, and it's now Friday. And my job is a 5-minute drive. And I'm like this. I can't wait to get home to study. And it's a Friday. And I'm thinking on the way home, I'm like, boy, back in the day, it's
the
Friday.
Stuff we'd have been prepared to do.
It's Friday.
Putting hairy creases in
the streets with all the fellas that you've been staying out all night long till come home tomorrow morning. And I said, but I'm on my way home to study on a Friday.
Love being at home now.
On a Friday, on a Friday. And I'm going home.
Loving to be at home. Otherwise, if I ain't at home, I'm somewhere with my brethren, brothers of the spirit,
to study.
Where I know it's love existed, there's no ill will.
That's right.
I ain't going nowhere where some ill will and I gotta strap up like a Mexican band.
That's right.
I mean, we gotta strap up because we living in this world and anything can happen. However, I know where I'm going. I don't have to wonder, damn, oh man, is this nigga gonna be there, man? Man, is this gonna happen? Is that gonna happen?
This is the
I don't know if I wanna go. Sitting in my car. Should I go? Should I not? You know. Whereas when I know it's the brethren, man, I'm at peace. I don't have a problem. I can relax.
Boy, hey, you know what?
Enjoy
funny.
myself.
Funny you mentioned that because one of the bros put a checklist on Facebook, and I liked it because it's what it is. Tell them what you put on there, John.
You ain't got a name on
I ain't no name, but just put something out there.
Yeah, it's like that when you go into the store.
And I do this. Now, it's funny. I laughed at it. I was like, you sure right. Because my wife told me, we came out, she's like, you really need a coat on. I was like, girl, I'm going to get in the truck. And I'm getting out of the truck. And the service bid, I'm going in. Yeah. But I didn't leave my hammer. No. In the loop, baby. Me neither. Trust.
Well, the scripture says if you have a coat and don't have one, sell your coat and buy one.
Right. You better get you a strap. What's the AZ's checklist?
Yeah, I heard. I saw the check. I saw it.
Oh, you going to it?
You don't know what he put.
Yeah, I want him to get it right because I looked at it, I was like, I prayed.
And he was just walking to the store 2 blocks away.
What did it say,
I said, forget it. The store ain't gonna want for me. Time to go out into the killing fields to get supplies. But before I leave the house, let me double check my list. Prayed up, check. Head on the swivel, check. Eyes wide open, check. Big caliber handgun, no check. Yeah. I'm just saying, the store just 2 blocks away.
Right. But you gotta have all of that done before you leave the crib. And everything on that list is on my list. I mean, extendo and extra one in the whip. Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to have faith, but don't go out here with blind faith.
Right. Had a bro come over my house and he like, saw me and my wife's hip. He like, damn, bro, is it like that around here? I said, brother, we live in the midst of the killing fields.
Yeah. That's real. We gotta.
I said, bro,
extra bullets.
when we come outside to watch my children ride their bikes up and down the street, I have to be strapped. Me and my wife standing out there strapped up like Mexican bandits because that's where we stay. Mm-hmm. That's where we stay. We pray it don't happen.
Yeah. We ain't looking for trouble. Right.
But trust me, I had an incident where a cat chased her sister. She ran up in my yard. Asked my wife could she use her phone. I'm in the house painting. My son running the house. He said, "Daddy, Mama needs you." I'm thinking she probably want me to pick up some plant, move it, something. I'm like, all right, I'll be out there. Let me go and get a couple of strokes in. But I heard this. My wife come in, she's like, you can use, I'll make the call for you, but you're not using my phone. I'm like, what's going on? So I come outside, sister standing in my yard with a hammer. What's going on out here? I said, no, let me go upstairs and get my strap because this look like some problem. Man, no, as soon as I'm upstairs grabbing my strap, man, I heard, looked out my window, a car that pulled up in front of my house, like came down the wrong way, pulled up, and I'm like, oh! Run downstairs. When I get downstairs outside, the dude hopped out the car. He going off on the gear. My wife like, no, ain't nothing finna happen here. She got her strap. She like, ain't nothing going on down there. And he like, well, sister. He like, man, what do you say about this woman busting, kicking in your house and doing? She was like, I don't give a damn what's going on, but ain't nothing finna kick off right here. When I come out, I say, everybody get the hell up off of my house, in front of my house. Everybody leave now. So she looking like, oh shit, you get your ass on out of here too. Cause I don't know what you done. And you coming up here and you gonna bring that drama to my house? No, it ain't happening. My wife was like, I don't know. I want to, she needed help, so I wanted to help. I said, but you don't know what evil she got with her. You can't help everybody.
Right.
Right. I say she'd have brought that evil to our house, and they thinking that we in cahoots with her. Next thing you know, our house is getting shot up, or my children in danger because of this heifer. I don't know what kind of evil she got on her. I told everybody get the hell away from her. Or everybody finna start catching them. I done already racked it. The dude, he like, oh, I gotta go. Yeah, you better go. Other car pulled up. They like, shit, we better go. Everybody better get now. Before I start squeezing.
Y'all wanna hear one real quick?
But
the rib looked out the kitchen window last night and said, baby, is there a road back there that I didn't know?
Ain't no road back there.
There's some red tail lights driving across our backyard. On to the neighbor's yard and on up. And I said, she said, nah, I know I saw some tail lights. And I looked, I said, I don't see nothing. Next thing I know, it's some headlights.
Coming back.
No, there is no road.
Ain't no road back there behind his house.
Drove up through our yard and through the neighbor's yard. Figured out they couldn't because they was running from the police. I looked down and I see the police and well, we ain't finna drive up through there. So they came around and forgot that they blocked our street off. So those people got away because they drove down between our house and the neighbor's house. They got out on our street and took off. And the police are down here, they can't catch them. And I'm still like, where are these tire tracks at? I'm like, I seen the car, I seen the headlights come through there. They don't see no tire tracks, but no, there's no road back there. They just ran up through our yard, drove all through there.
You have to be careful.
All through the yard. And it's like, you talk about going out with your strap.
We have to be careful, Israel.
Yes.
Because them demons want us too.
Bad. Bad. Let's get this wrapped up. I'm in verse
What time is it? What time?
41.
10 minutes to 5.
We just finish this up and then I give homework and then and we get our prayer on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read 41 again because I was in the middle of it.
We at
41.
We at
Second Ezra 8.
Yeah.
Verse 41.
For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so it is of them that are sown in the world, they shall not all be saved. I answered then and said, if I have found grace, let me speak. Like as the husbandman's seed perisheth, if it come not up, and receiveth not thy rain in due season.
Zechariah 14.
Or if there come too much rain and corrupt it, even so perisheth man also, which is formed with thy hands, and is called thine own image, because thou art like unto him, for whose sake thou hast made all things, and likened him unto the husbandman's seed. Be not wroth with us, but spare thy people, and have mercy upon thine own inheritance. For thou art merciful unto thy creature. Then answered he me, and said, things present are for the present, and things to come for such as to be to come. For thou comest far short, that thou shouldest be able to love my creature more than I. But I have oftentimes drawn nigh unto thee, and unto it, but never to the unrighteousness.
So the Most High said he draws near unto the righteous. When we seek him, even in our affliction, even in our captivity, and you read this in Baruch chapter 3 and chapter 4, that the Most High says we ought to choose him and worship him and praise his name even in our captivity. That he'll deliver us. Just like in 1 Kings chapter 8, he says if we pray towards the holy mountain, and he will hear our supplications and deliver us from our afflictions and our tribulations.
48. In this also thou art marvelous before the Most High, in that thou hast humbled thyself as it becometh thee, and hast not judged thyself worthy to be much glorified among the righteous.
Gotta humble ourselves instead of puffed up pride.
That's right.
For many great miseries shall be done to them that are in the latter time that in the latter time that shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee.
So walk with those who are like-minded. Be of one accord with your brethren, your household, the body of Christ. Edify the body of Christ, the church. You can't walk with one who believes that Christ is accursed. That's a difference. That's major, man. That ain't something light.
Right.
That's major. Because Christ is salvation. So if you do not believe in salvation, you are reserved for damnation. Why would you want to walk with that? You want to entertain foolishness because, okay, I'm going to be nice for you. Most High says, be kind, not nice. Be kind, not nice. There's a difference. Be kind, not nice. Don't save face. Love your brethren and admonish him. Tell them the truth. That he may deliver his soul from damnation. Read on.
52. For unto you is paradise open. The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteous is made ready. A city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom.
This is what we want. Perfect goodness. The things that we look at upon this earth right now, we look upon as, oh man, that's banging, man. That's good. That's nice. That's perfect. No, it ain't. Because everything in this world depreciates in value.
Verse 53. The root of evil is sealed up from you. Weakness and the moth is hid from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasure of immortality. And therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. For when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High through scorn of his law and forsook his ways.
So while we lived in liberty, we chose the unrighteous way. Because there was no belief in that which is to come. No hope.
That liberty was freedom. While you were free to do
and mercy,
you chose not to.
That grace and mercy that he had presented unto us under the order of Melchizedek. Read on.
Moreover, they have trodden down his righteousness, his righteous, and said in their heart that there is no God, yea, and that knowing they must die, for as the thing aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that man should come to naught.
You see this again? Most High didn't create man to come to naught. He created man for a purpose, but through man's transgression, we chose the wrong way.
And thirst and pain is prepared for them.
We don't.
But they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them, and were unthankful unto him which prepared life for them. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee, and a few like thee. Then answered I and said, Behold, O Lord, now hast thou showed me the multitude of the wonders which thou wilt begin to do in the last times, but at what time thou hast not showed me. So what he's going to ask him in that 9, he tell him I can't show you that.
And then he goes on to reveal more prophecies that you also see in Matthew 24 and in Zechariah 14. Latter day prophecies. Homework, y'all. All right. Few things that we did not get to address. All right. Under your title of free will. You want Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 through 20. Isaiah chapter 48, verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 1 through 15, then 15 through 68. But 1 and verse 15 is your meat, because these are choose life or choose death. If you choose life, then you shall live. These are the blessings. If you go and rebel against the commandments, then from 15 through 68 is the curses for choosing unrighteousness. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, but you want the whole chapter. Remember, every time read the whole chapter, but I'm going to give you the verses where the meat is, but go back and read the whole chapter so you get a full understanding. Micah chapter 2 and chapter 3. Proverbs 21, 16. With that Deuteronomy 31 through 20, put Sirach 15. Proverbs chapter 15, 31 through 33.
That's Rock 15, you want 16 to 17.
I'm sorry?
As far as the meat, you want 16 to 17.
Yeah. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. Proverbs 19, verse 8. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. Proverbs 1, verse 29. Sirach 48. You want 1 Tim chapter 4 and 1, where people are in the latter days will fall away from the truth and start being led by seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So this also lets you know that predestination goes out the window, because if a man once knew righteousness and now he turns towards a wicked doctrine and the doctrines of devils, that means he's changed his way. Yeah, I got 2 Thessalonians on here. 2 Thessalonians, yeah, that's on here. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, 4. That goes under the endure. 1 Timothy chapter 4. Read the whole chapter. 1 is the meat, but read the whole chapter always. Isaiah chapter 65 and 12. Isaiah 66 and 4. These are Israelites that have chosen other doctrines and other religions and things of this nature, and choose, he says, you should be destroyed because of the stocks and the groves in which you chose. See, he's talking about that grove, that garden again, because now your conscience is seared in that belief structure.
What's that, right? 2 Thessalonians?
2 Thessalonians 1, chapter 1, verse 4. Title, endure to the end, shall be saved. It's your subtitle. Under it goes Matthew 24:13. Luke chapter 13, verse 24. Luke chapter 18. 141. We already just did that 2nd Ezra chapter 8. Isaiah chapter 45, 22. Luke 18, Luke 13, 24. Also, I want y'all to read Luke chapter 11, Luke chapter 12, and Luke chapter 10, because in Luke chapter 10,
11 and 12.
chapter 10, 11, and 12 in Luke. In chapter 10, Christ is saying that he saw Satan fall to earth like lightning cast out of heaven. Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You want these, Revelations 12, we want these to show how that these demonic spirits, that Satan is dwelling on earth amongst the men and he's persecuting. So this is a spiritual war we're dealing with. We're not dealing with a fleshly advocate. This advocate is spiritual from the beginning. That old serpent.
Same old serpent, which is the devil.
So definitely put your Ephesians chapter 6 on there.
Gird up.
Gird up, y'all. Gird up your loins with truth. Did I give y'all 1 Peter 5?
No.
1 Peter 5 and 9. James chapter 5. James chapter 4.
I'm just tripping up. There's 150 Psalms, and I picked one, he picked one, and he picked one. They were all three in a row.
Yep.
I said 140, 141, and then 142. How do we just go 3 Psalms in a row out of all of them? And we didn't separately say, I want to read this one, he said, I want to read that one, and they're right in a row.
The Spirit.
We've been doing it all day.
The Spirit. Psalms 34 and 19.
34.
34. 2 Corinthians 6 and 4. Two, 10, 3, and 11.
Coquino.
Ooh. All right, I want you to put this in. The Lord does not cause to sin or give a license to sin. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, 11 through 20. Nor does he tempt any man. He always gives us a way out. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 33 and 1. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, verse 26 says the word nurtures man. In Proverbs 8.
Who was that last Wisdom of Solomon? I recall that one.
33 and 1.
33, chapter 33?
Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 33 and 1.
16.
16 all.
What you say? Oh,
15, leave out 21 with me, 33, 16.
Something burning.
Yeah, I smell something. Isaiah chapter 42, Israel's blindness.
I'm a little loud in here.
That should suffice, y'all. Read that Romans chapter 9 too. Did we do Romans 8? 29 through 30?
No.
All right. Oh, those were the predestined.
Yeah.
That Romans 8 is under predestined and Ephesians 1 under predestined. Also do that Romans chapter 9 that they're predestined. All right, y'all, that's it.
Oh, the Wisdom of Solomon, you got 33.
Yeah.
You got no 33 in there.
Huh?
Ain't no 33 in there.
Oh, his verse is, I'm sorry. Hold on.
That's why I
Is
asked.
verse 33? Hold on.
I just showed, just typed it like it.
What did, hold on. Slow it up, y'all. Slow it up, Tito.
You gave like 3 Wisdom of Solomons in a row.
Okay, hold on. Let me check out. I said 33.
One of them off.
It might be Sirach 33. Let me look. Yeah, it's Sirach. I'm sorry, y'all. Sirach 33 and 1. Also do that Sirach chapter 2. Sirach chapter 2 and 10, where it says, no man has ever trusted, look at the generations of old and see Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or did he ever despise any that called upon him? So put that in there.
What was that second one? The second Sirach? What was that?
Sirach chapter 2 and 10. All right, y'all. Any questions, Tubai? We are good out there?
Yes, sir.
Was there any understanding? All praises to the Most High and His holy begotten Son. We getting out of here on time today, y'all. Don't help, like.
All right, y'all. We'll get this closed in prayer with the Most High's permission. In the name of His only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, we call him Jesus the Christ. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, the 141st chapter, and it reads, Yahweh, I cry unto thee, make haste unto me, give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Set a watch, O Yahweh, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity. And let me not eat of their dainties. Let the righteous smite me. It shall be a kindness. And let him reprove me. It shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. For yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. When their judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth, as when one cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth. But mine eyes are unto thee, O Yahweh, my power. In thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. Let the wicked fall into their own nest, whilst that I with all escape. Hallelujah! Say that!
Got a shekel or two, don't forget the usury.
Yes, yes.
Lord, I'm good at treasury. May everyone have a blessed evening.
Right.
Treasury.